All right.
Yeah.
Well, you ready?
Yep.
Hello, everyone. I'm joined today with Cheryl Gress, the founder of Christ-Centered Gamer. How are you doing today, Cheryl?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How about you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. So, Cheryl, do you want to briefly introduce yourself and tell people who you are, what you do?
Sure. All right. So, yep, as you said, my name is Cheryl Gress, and my husband and I, his name is Jason. We both founded Christ Center Gamer very late 1999 or probably early 2000. So, basically, when Ultima 9 came out, that's what kind of spurred us to creating the site. So, what we do is we point out content in games that Christians or parents might not otherwise hear about so that they can make informed purchasing decisions. And we review games on with two scores. One is a gameplay score for how fun the game is, and we look at like graphics and gameplay and stability, sound and controls, stuff like that. And then we also have a moral score, which will look at like violence and language, sexual content, occult, supernatural, uh, and sexual content, stuff like that. So yeah, so we have two scores, and people seem to like that approach.
So, I guess you and your husband were gamers all your life or for a long period of time prior to wanting to start your own gaming site?
Yeah, I think we hail back to like the Atari 2600 era, maybe even before that with I had a Commodore 64, so kind of like dating myself here. So yeah, we've been gaming for a while.
And what, I guess you're presumably Christian as well, yes?
Yes, yeah.
And so this
Yep.
oh god. Oh, were you
What's
gonna
that?
say something?
Oh, no, 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 sorry.
So, what made you think I have a strong moral Christian religious viewpoint and I love games. I should merge these two together.
So, it started with us with Ultima 9. And so, my husband and I, we each bought a copy, and that was $50 a pop, and it's a good chunk of change, just starting off, and we're playing the game, we're having a good time, it's got good graphics, good music, fun gameplay, and then all of a sudden we're playing, and it's like, oh wow, okay, so in order to make magic, I had to gather reagents, I had to put them in a pentagram and light candles around it to make magic. I'm like, wait, that's like a whole occult ceremony. I just don't. This doesn't feel right. And then here we are. We had two copies of this game, and we're convicted not to play it anymore. And it's just $100 gone. So it's like there's got to be a way to find out what's in games before buying them to let people know what's out there. And at the time, there was only just a couple of sites, not much. There wasn't much out there now. I mean, now there's quite a few Christian or family friendly game review sites out there. So, but yeah, we're still going strong. Lots of a lot of games to review, and not enough reviewers to cover them all. We currently have like a backlog of over like 170 games to cover.
And so you say your audience with this is mostly either Christians themselves who don't want to play games that have elements that they themselves believe go against their faith,
Hmm.
and also for parents to help make parents help inform like sort of like a almost an ESRB purpose, but for Christian religion. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and obviously, it's not the government doing it; it's just a private
No.
organization which, yeah, no, I think that's totally fine. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
have people found this like very useful? Have like people? I mean, I guess so. It's existed for 20 something years, but like, have people talked about how they've found this like a useful thing to help them either raise their kids or help them better enjoy games when they might have been turned off originally or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, I get like emails from like grandparents looking for ideas on what to get the grandkids for Christmas. We have a very active Discord community, so like, on the faith aspect, We've done like Bible studies. We're praying over our members. We have a very active prayer request channel. We actually, we'll talk, spiritual things. People will ask questions and we'll answer them. And we've had people come to Christ on our Discord server. So that's a real cool, so it's a ministry. It's an outreach. And I think we're just kind of bridging the gap. And some people might think that Christians don't even play games, but we do. I mean, obviously we have different viewpoints. It's kind of like some Christians are pro Harry Potter, some Christians are against it. But there's also different tastes, in games, and everyone has different convictions, and we respect that, and we just our rule of thumb is to people is like, hey, if you feel guilty playing the game, you probably shouldn't be playing it. So, but everyone's got different tastes and convictions on that one.
So obviously, there's a lot of different. There's not just like one Christian viewpoint. Obviously, there's this rather big schism between like the
Yeah.
Protestants and Catholics and
Mhm.
Orthodox and all these different other um, denominations and like Mormons and like Jehovah's
Mhm.
Witnesses. Like, are they Christian? Do they consider themselves that? I don't know. So like, there's
They'll
this
they'll
whole.
consider
I
themselves
don't.
Christian.
I don't mean to say be flippant. I just don't know a lot about their faiths.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah.
But I don't. There's obviously a lot of different people who consider themselves to be Christian, and
Mhm,
they have different viewpoints on stuff.
mhm.
How do you approach that with how you grade these games?
Well, I mean, a lot of people appreciate reviews no matter what denomination they are. I mean, I was raised Catholic. I'm no longer Catholic. So obviously, if a game is portraying the Catholic faith in a negative light, I'll mention that. Um, or whatever, any kind of faith, or just even, or forget, a lot of games sometimes just simply just reject all Christianity or poke fun at it, whatever. Like, they'll have like upside down crosses or whatever they do. And it's just like, okay, well, just FYI, this is in the game, for what, we don't even, we just try to just remain neutral as much as possible and point out what's in the game and let people, make the decision for themselves if that's for them or not. But then again, you have games like South Park, which wants to offend everybody. So it's like, hey, they're pretty they're pretty exclusive there. So, um, but yeah, so we're pretty open about it. But people will go on Discord and we'll have discussions. We have some people on there that are Mormon, and we've gone through what just very civil. What we believe, what we don't believe in their faith, and the same with us. Go back and forth. So yeah, but yeah, it's our audience. I mean, we have people who are even non-believers who go to our reviews, and they'll ignore the moral section, but they appreciate the rest of the review and they find it very helpful.
All right, so you do separate the two scores. This is something that a lot of people were critical of other gaming sites for not doing, for not
Mm-hmm.
separating what they consider to be like the moral aspects of a game versus the other aspects, the gameplay, the story, the graphics. Does the game run well? All these different other components. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't separate the two, and they got a lot of criticism for this. Your website, how long has it been doing it? Since 1999, or?
Let's see. We kind of uh yeah, I'm trying to think. We kind of purged a lot of our old reviews because they weren't that great. Maybe a couple of paragraphs and probably a few typos and stuff like that in there. So we kind of purged a lot of them or rewritten them or throughout the years. But we've been separating them for at least 15 years. So yes, we've been doing that for a while. We might not have started that way, but we have been separating it for quite some time. And but yeah, I mean, people obviously, the website name, we wear our bias on our sleeve, so you're gonna get a Christian viewpoint, but for a lot of games, it doesn't even matter. I mean, I don't shoehorn Christianity into games like Mario Kart. I mean, it's just a silly racing game. There's no you don't have to put a Bible verse in a review like that. So we don't force it, but if it does if there is objectionable content, we'll explain, why some people might find it offensive or offensive, or just FYI, this is there. I mean, there's a lot of games that are whatever, LGBTQ plus friendly, and we'll point out, like, oh yeah, by the way, when you start your game, instead of selecting your gender, you get to pick a body type. So that's just there for you. Just throw it out. That's just how this game does it. So if you like it, great. If you don't like it, well, there you go. Now you know what to do. So that's kind of how we kind of do it.
I don't mean to wish bad omens, but I have to ask.
Yeah.
In the current political climate, have you received any criticism over that?
Um, I think there have been people who probably think we uh we hate those kind of people. We don't. I mean, we'll also dock a game if there's premarital sex, or if there's prostitution or anything like that. I mean, it's all under the bucket of sexual sin or sex outside of marriage. If you're so that's just the way we dock it. It's I don't know. I mean, it's that's how we do it. I mean, the violence. I mean, we kind of have like different degrees of violence, and there's different degrees of on the sexual score too. I mean, is it does it fade to black? Do you see everything? Are you wearing revealing clothes? I mean, so there's different. Obviously things go to a zero, and sometimes it needs to go lower than that, but zero is as low as some of these things go. So so that's kind of how we do it.
So what it made you originally think, you know what, we should probably separate these two different components?
So I think what happened. I think when we first started, um, we did kind of like average the scores, but then wasn't really fair. Like, a game could be super fun, but really offensive, and then therefore, like, it wouldn't rate that high, or vice versa. A game would be super appropriate but rather dull, and it would be kind of propped up, and so it's like, we got to separate it. So, however, though, when we use curation sites like Steam Curator, or if we post a game on a game review on a site like N4G, we'll just use the game score, because they only allow us to put one score, kind of a thing. Or yeah, or like, I'm sorry, with the Steam Curation, it's not. I will base the recommended or not recommended based on the game score, not the moral score. So that's kind of how we do that. If we had to favor one score for other sites, secular sites, we would favor the game score. But when it comes to our Christmas buying guide, I require. So I guess the rule with the Christian buying guide is that I don't want to recommend a game that would make me blush if it got handed to a pastor. I guess that's the kind of bar I set. So on our Christmas buying guide, the game has to be like at 85% in both categories or higher.
So when you approach this, do you the moral side of the review, do you
Hmm.
approach it through, here's a description of what's in it and you can make your own decision, or do you try to do like an in-depth analysis of what this particular scene in this particular moment means for Christianity, or means, or could be do you like try to analyze it through like a Christian lens too, or just put the information out there for people to make their decisions for the moral point?
Um, we we usually we're pretty neutral. Yeah, we try to be as neutral as possible, and just kind of just point out, this is what to expect without. I mean, sometimes we have to go into spoiler territory, and we'll usually try to hide that with spoiler tags if we need to. But just, hey, this has to be this has to be known if you're concerned about the moral score. But yeah, we try not to. We don't want to be too preachy. You just want to let know, is the game fun, and is it safe for my family, and try to be as succinct as possible in relaying that information.
Have you ever thought about doing what like some of the other gaming sites do from a more progressive lens, like Polygon considers itself an openly progressive website and they try to analyze games? from a progressive viewpoint? Have you ever thought of doing something like that from a Christian or a multi-faith viewpoint?
Um, I don't know. I mean, sometimes we get we do have some blog posts where we might go a little bit more into opinions. And I know this is, like I said, we've mentioned things like GamerGate and stuff like that in the blog. Um, but yeah, we don't. Well, I guess maybe if we didn't work full-time jobs, we'd have more time to write up opinion pieces like that. But right now, we're just trying to get just caught up on our major backlog of reviews that we have to do.
All right. So actually, I guess I'll ask too, because what do you think of the way that some of these other sites do things when it comes to philosophical viewpoints and how they use those to interpret games?
um, I mean, to be honest, don't. I try to avoid other review sites. I don't really ever want to get a biased opinion on a game, so I don't really read the competition too much. I mean, I know obviously, the way they were forcing their opinions on in their reviews and things like that was not well received. So they learned their lesson? I can't say because I'm not really a reader. So
All
yeah,
right.
so I
Oh, good.
sorry.
Do you have anything else you want to say about your specific model and how you approach things?
Um, well, I think it works pretty well. I mean, throughout the years, I mean, we like I said, we've been doing this for over 20 years, and we haven't been good at it when we first started, but we just took, when we got criticism, and actually if it was constructive criticism, we applied it and we learned from it and we made our reviews better. And then there's times where people are like, I have this service, it's called Mention, and I can tell when people link to our reviews. So I often see we're on Mention on 4chan and stuff like that, which is kind of funny. And people will link our reviews and they'll read them, and they're like, these actually, I don't care about the Christian part, but the rest of it is very well written. I like these reviews are great. So the fact that even if people aren't Christian and they enjoy them, that's really cool. Oh, hold on a
Yeah.
sec. Okay, that's right. Okay.
I was pulling up the Christ Center Gamer article about Gamergate, but I think before we get into that, I
Sure.
guess we'll go over some of the arguments about like objective reviews, because this is something that a lot of people said that they wanted at the time about 10 years ago. A lot of people still say that they want.
Hmm.
They want, here's what's the game is like, here's what's in the game, here's how it plays, etc. I don't need I don't. I want it to be as objective as they reasonably can be. They would
Hmm.
say, but this objective review argument has been criticized by people who think that there's no such thing as objectivity, because at the end of the day, the person playing the game is having a subjective experience doing that, and that could mean very different things to very different people, and that is going to influence how they perceive games and how they promote and talk about games or review games.
Hmm.
What do you think of these two supposedly dichotomous views?
Well, I mean, I know how I play it. How I play games, and I avoid different things. If a game is, I guess, prides itself on being blasphemous, I'm probably not gonna play it. However, with that said, I do try to keep an open mind, and one of the I don't know, somebody in GamerGate I didn't mean to do that. Somebody in GamersGate challenged us to uh review Honey Pop, which was quite the undertaking for me. Obviously, I'm the one that reviewed it because I didn't want to subject, our male reviewers to that kind of content. So I took one for the team and I reviewed that game, the censored version. So I always play a censored version if available. And that game, I had to I wanted to dock it more than I could, but no, it's like, no, they're like, I had to stay within our bounds, and I'm glad I did. But that was a very, very, very hard game to review. And obviously, I mean, any game I play though, it's yeah, I'm gonna take offense to things if it's making fun of Christianity. It's like, okay, all right, yeah, all right, I get you. I see what you think. I see what you did there or whatever. So yeah, I mean, it's really hard. I mean, everyone's gonna have a slant of some sort. I mean, if it could be race, it could be religion, it could be gender. I mean, as a female, I always don't like it if I'm playing a role playing game and I gotta go fight a dragon in armored bikini, and meanwhile the male counterpart has got a full set of armor. Like, well, how fair is that? Give me an armor set.
As unenjoyable of an experience as it was, who was the best girl in Honey Pop?
Oh my goodness. I I really I I really tried to banish that from my memory. I seriously went to like Reddit eye bleach afterwards. So
I actually
Oh.
played it, but I don't know if I've like mastered like all the different characters, but I've got like 9.7 hours into it. Um,
Oh man. Yeah, I don't remember what my Steam was. I mean, obviously I'd have to play it too long to get a feel of the appropriateness issues on that one. And it's funny too, is like even if I think somebody called me out afterwards on the like comments or something, like, "Hey, by the way, you missed an alien reference or something." It's like, "Oh, okay, I'll edit that." So,
so
okay.
on your wait, hang on, I have to ask. This is unrelated to the Chris. This is like unrelated to the. But what do you think of aliens?
What do I think of aliens? Um, I don't see why not. Um, I mean, obviously, the Bible talks about, our creation and stuff like that, but it's a big universe out there. I don't see why God couldn't create others.
All right, all right. I had a few more questions I wanted to go down with this,
Sure.
but I'm not.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay, whatever.
Oh, I should have taken notes and written them down because I've
Sorry.
unfortunately no totally on me. Um, because I actually had I wanted to explore like how to well I guess oh yeah I guess I'll use it on a personal level. So when this obviously isn't related to the way you review games, um, but it's related to like what you give people information, but on a personal level for you, like what do you think of are lines for yourself that you would set like in regards to like not in your professional capacity, like obviously you played Honey Pop. That's you being a professional, and doing that as a service to other people so that they have information about the game.
Mhm.
That's like a different thing from like what you would play in a non-professional capacity, like just in your like in your home. Like what would you say are your for yourself and your family? Would you say you set like the line as when it comes to like violence or sexual? I guess they're different things, right? Like violence, sexuality, drugs. Like is there like a level at which it's like okay, this amount of violence is okay, but that amount is maybe too far
Oh,
for me personally, not for the government banning it for you personally.
well, I mean, for me, my personal line is I don't like to see satanic content in games, so if there's games and they have like pentagrams and stuff in, I'm like, okay, that's enough, I'm done. Kind of a thing. Violence, I don't see it too often. I mean, games used to have the ability to disable blood and gore. So if that option was there, I'd enable it. For a while, we ran a Team Fortress 2 server, and we had the birthday mod on there. So like instead of blood, confetti came out, and people had party hats on. So it was kind of cute. Um, but yeah, I don't know. As far as well, it was funny because my kids growing up. they would be like whatever in second grade, and their friends were playing like I don't know what was around back then. Was Skyrim around back then? I have to like they were playing these games, these M-rated games. I'm like, ha, no, you're not playing that. And so they got upset because they weren't allowed to play, you know, whatever Call of Duty or Skyrim or whatever was around. Like these M-rated games, we kind of like followed the age, the age requirements. But now they're, our youngest just is 16, so I let them. We're pretty easygoing in what they play as long as it's not totally crazy obscene like sexual content or stuff like that. But they're, my son wrote the Ultra Kill review for us, and I think his review of Uragun just came out today on our site. So they help. But yeah, I don't know. We really don't. I don't have if I'm mostly playing games for Christ Center Gamer, so I have like a personal backlog. I mean, but I don't know if I'm ever gonna. I have so many games to play. I have like 3 lifetimes worth of games to play, so I don't know if I'll ever get to them.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat.
Yeah, too many games, too little time.
All right, so before we begin, do you want to read it or do you want me to read it? I got it pulled up. I'm going to put up on screen share too on the
Oh,
stream. The GamerGate statement written by you for Christ and Gamer. Do you want to
oh,
read it or do you want me
okay.
to read it? I could read it. It's totally fine. It's up to you.
Yeah, I'll have to pull it up.
But given that you wrote it, I wanted to give you the chance if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'll have to remember what I wrote back then. I know where again. I was trying to be pretty. I don't know, pretty neutral. Let's see if I can pull it up.
Oh, I can just link it to you real quick.
Oh, okay, sure.
You're the one who linked it to me originally, so
Probably. Yeah, it's like there we go. Let's
there you go.
see. Oh, I see it. Okay, so visit site. There we go. See how fast my internet connection is. All right. Come on. There we go. So what is Gamersgate? What has it done for us and what does it mean? All right, so let's first clear the air that I am not referring to digital game servers gamergate.com, which actually we used to get game review codes from, so that was a little bit of a confusion there, which has sent us games to review in the past. Gamergate is an outcry of gamers who feel betrayed by the corrupt reviewing practices of many popular video gaming sites out there. Nobody likes being lied to or shamed into embracing certain ideologies, and they are taking action by petitioning advertising clients to pull ads, game developers and publishers to reassess their relationships with gaming journalists, and challenging the whole industry to understand that true diversity means every voice is heard. So far, they have been pretty successful. Unfortunately, there have been some incidents of harassment and death threats being made which gave the movement some negative press. Those incidents are not excusable, but calling for better ethics and practices in journalism is fine by me. Apparently, there is demand for game reviews with integrity. I have been honored and flattered by many non believers recently who have checked us out and have taken the time to send words of encouragement to us. In the past week, I have gotten more kudos than I have in the previous 15 years. And when did I write this? I wrote that in 2014. Okay. Um, let's see. All right, your kind words and donations are much appreciated. I hope more people are blessed by what we're doing. I realize that we're a niche site and that we won't appeal to the masses. We also wear our bias on our sleeves, which is something that secular sites don't typically do. Mainstream sites should take note and mention any assets, favors, and funding received into the reviews to the readers. They deserve your honesty. Many reviewers have a bias. Acknowledge and embrace them. Don't force them on your readers, though. We're gaming journalists. Let's focus on the games. Tell your readers what the games excel at and where they falter. Score the game on its own merits and let the reader make their own call to buy it or not. That's what we do, and people seem to like that approach. We're not planning on changing our reviewing approach anytime soon. We will continue to be transparent to our audience, and I hope and pray other sites follow suit. If Gamergate brings its integrity back into journalism, I'm all for it as long as the methods used are nonviolent. Raising over $6,500 for the Extra Life 2014 charity event seems pretty peaceful in my opinion. I'm looking forward to a brighter future in gaming journalism. In him, Cheryl Gress, President Gamer at Divine Games.
All right. Well, thank you. And I'm also showing the Extra Life donation thing here, $6,526 at the time of the screenshot, at least.
Okay. Yep.
All right, so you say that this is pretty neutral. Um, how was it received by the pro GamerGate community and the anti GamerGate community?
I think it was received pretty well. I'm really sad we upgraded the site and the URL structure had to change, which made it more search engine friendly. But as a result, we any comments on our site for the last I don't know 10 years were lost. So I'm sure there was a lot of stuff that was on the discuss, but has been long gone. So this article, I can't see any of the content we had on that, unfortunately. But we've gotten many mentions on the Reddit Kotaku in action. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people were on there, and we got a lot of people following our Twitter. I mean, and that's just how I even first heard about Twitter. Is like we just kind of been doing our own thing for the longest time, and like all of a sudden, I just wake up one morning and I got like I don't know 25 mentions on Twitter, and given that I never had any really before, other than like maybe like one at a time, it's like, wait, what's going on? Or why are we getting pulled into this? Or how are we getting? We're like, our site was pulled up as like an example of how to do things, and so the GamerGate kind of thing just put us on the map, and the community has been pretty supportive of what we do, but also they corrected us on some things, and held us accountable, which is fine, because one of the things that we changed as a result, I wrote a game a while ago. It's called Break Out the Bible, and we have a review of it. Now the funny thing is I didn't review my own game, and quite frankly, the people on our staff, which mostly volunteer, but they didn't want they didn't want to criticize my game either. So they didn't want that pressure. So what I wound up doing is, I think I had a neighbor kid, like, who literally lived like across the street. He needed to write a school project. I'm like, hey, you want to review this game for me, for your school project? And he did. And I referenced him as JD, and I mean those were his initials that he went by. But they wanted like the GamerGate. Well, I guess some of the critics, they wanted more information about this author. And it's like, wait a sec. I mean, this kid was like 14 when he reviewed the game, and I'm not doxing some teenager or whatever he was. It's like, yeah. So but we just kind of put a better disclaimer. I mean, we've always been pretty good about mentioning when we're given content to review, or if we have an advertiser, or if there's whoever if we write a review and they've later advertised with us, we would disclose that information. So but overall, I think, I mean, there's always going to be haters no matter what, but I think overall uh it's been a positive experience.
Now, your your site was considered supported by at least some people within the GamerGate community. Deep Freeze mentions that it's supported, and it's also supported by at least four of the five GamerGate lists for what websites are supported versus boycotted at the time. What so
Oh, okay. Yeah. I
so
think we've been on Deep Freeze It, I think, was one of them that's mentions that were supported, I
yeah,
believe.
you're deep. I'll link it here for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Which just means that it doesn't mean that Deep Freeze necessarily. I guess it does mean that Deep Freeze endorses the site, because Deep Freeze would they base it. Their methodology is, according to their site, that they base their supported and boycotted lists based on a 4 out of 5 of these GamerGate related lists of sites.
Okay.
What did you think of the GamerGate people supporting? I know that you've spoken very positively about it, but it's obviously you're a gaming journalism site in theory, right? You review games. That's a very that's an act of journalism, you could say. Some people would disagree. Aaron Pabon, I think, was very much against that idea, but that the idea was an act of journalism, or at least in that sense. I don't want to misrepresent his position. But you're gaming journalists. The GamerGaters are perceived by a lot of the other games journalists to be hostile, to have these really, well, to basically be harassers and doxers and misogynists. Um, that's basically that their position, and you are having this from them support, and you're happy about receiving the support. Um, what do you think of that disconnect between how you perceive the movement versus how some people at Kotaku, let's say, perceive the movement?
Well, I think the Kotaku was one of the sites criticized, so I can understand them not liking the movement. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I mean there was a lot of corruption that came to light, and rightfully so. Um, but yeah, I mean, but there also was doxing and stuff going on and bomb threats, and that's never cool, no matter what. So yeah, I mean, but whenever there's any kind of positive thing, there's always going to be someone out there to spoil it. So um, kind of hard to say there, um, but yeah, I don't know. Like I haven't gotten too much into it. I have seen what people have said about our outlet, and small as it is, and just the fact that hey, it's been put on the map, and so that part I'm grateful for. And like I mean we still have people on we have like Twitter or X followers that still follow us from that, and we still interact, and they still appreciate our reviews. So I think it's more that it helped build it built an audience, or gave us I guess amplified our platform a little bit, and got us some fans.
Can you think of some of the instances where the GamerGate people criticized you or your site, or offered feedback that you took into account or that you thought about taking into account?
How I uttered the break out the Bible review, uh, to be more, more, less vague, I guess, or just to kind of uh, clarify how that went down. So that was like I think that's the biggest change that comes to my mind of what we changed due to some feedback we've gotten. So the break out the Bible review was the introduction on that one was clarified a little bit, and I put my foot down on releasing any more of that reviewer's identity because of their age. Um, but yeah, so other than that, I think I don't know. I mean, I think they appreciate. I mean, that they've stepped up for us. I mean, I sometimes will post on Twitter if there's any, you know, I don't know, if we encounter some like unpleasant companies that we work with, or if we get shafted on things. I FYI, be careful working with this company or whatever the case. And I know we've gotten I guess taken for a ride a couple times around some things, and people in the that have followed us have stepped up and appreciated our stance on things. Or maybe we I think we refused money, or we refused um or maybe it was something like we refused to change a review score or something like that, and people spoke up and threw a couple of donations our way uh to give their support for our stance, because we didn't we don't change reviews. I mean, the only time I would change a review is if there was like a math error. If I sometimes I post in reviews like crazy early in the morning, and the caffeine hasn't kicked in yet, and I might make a stupid mistake. Uh, one of the funniest mistakes I made was there was a game that I reviewed called Shiftlings, but when I posted it, or I think I posted it like N4G or something, I forgot to put the F in the title, so it was kind of funny. Anyways.
So you described it. I think your summary of GamerGate was fair. I think it was pretty neutral in how you presented things. I think that's basically what it was. Though the some of the anti-GamerGate people would argue that you can't be neutral on GamerGate. That's a common phrase you would hear, especially like people debating it all the time. Like you can't be neutral on this because there were a lot of people who tried to stay out. Myself in the beginning, actually, I was pretty neutral on GamerGate. But as I interacted more with both sides, I one was getting not welcomed in the other one as much, and then two, it seemed like one side was very much being more aggressive at attacking the other people than the other way around. It seemed, in
Yeah.
my estimation. So, but I was more neutral too, and people would always say, "Oh, you can't be neutral on this. You can't be neutral." And
Then I'll be like, watch me.
what do you? So you don't. So, but they would say, sorry, their position, I guess, if you want to steel man it, is that GamerGate's a harassment campaign to destroy like the lives of these three specific people that they don't like and create an atmosphere that is hostile and toxic towards women all throughout gaming. Um, that's what they would say, and so you can't be neutral on that because if you're neutral on it, then you're siding with the bad people who want to do this bad thing.
Bigger than that, though. So I mean, I think that's just too narrow of a view. And I mean, people are gonna be like that either way. I mean, you got like the Russia and Ukraine war, and it's like, you know, I think there's faults on both sides, but my thoughts and prayers are with the innocent civilians that are caught in the middle of it. So I mean, it's there's always gonna be some middle ground, and there's always gonna be some good points, and there's always gonna be some bad points on things. But in the end, it's just like, have things gotten better as a result? I would say yes. In regards to GamersGate. So, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely some dark moments, but I think there's been also been some changes for the better.
But I disagree. I mean, I obviously the framing of GamerGate in that way is dishonest, in
Yeah.
my view. So I'm going to take issue with it. But is there? Are there cases where you think being neutral in the face of an injustice, an actual one, um, is actually being de facto in support of whatever I guess sin or moral wrong you think is being committed?
Well, all right. Well, I guess let's take freedom of speech. There's going to be, I think that's a right that everyone should have. But are there going to be people that abuse it? Yes. But are there people that need to have their voice heard? Yes. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's you got to give people that right, but there's people that are going to harness it, but there's also going to be people who who need to exercise it. So I don't know. It's hard to take a hard stance on that because that is people are right to their opinions, whether it's right or wrong. But with that said, people should still be given a chance to listen. They should everybody I think a decent human being would would hear both sides of an argument before coming up with a conclusion. But not everybody does that.
Well, I think the way you put that with listen to both sides of an argument before coming to a conclusion is, I think, right. Though on the greater question, though, like George Orwell's quote, "Pacifism is objectively pro-fascist.
Hmm.
This is elementary common sense. If you hamper the war effort of one side, you automatically help out that of the other. Nor is there any real way of remaining outside of such a war as the present one. In practice, he that is not with me is against me now." And that was in relation to World War II.
Mm. Yeah, well, that's That's a good quote. Yeah, there's a lot of power there, a lot of truth there. But
Well,
yeah, I
yeah,
don't know.
I actually I don't I think that trying to equate GamerGate with World War II is obviously not analogous situations, but
No, no, no. I don't think there's
plus I
that
don't
that
think
many.
the people who didn't like GamerGate would like Orwell very much, or at least many of them wouldn't.
Yeah, right. Yeah, probably not.
All right, so keep it a little bit open-ended here for now, and we'll transition in. Tell me about your GamerGate experience.
Well, yeah, I think I already like mentioned it earlier. Pretty much, as I said, just all of a
Yeah, we kind of
sudden,
already covered it.
yeah, I know. Just my Twitter, blowing up, and not actually like. I mean, I don't think I've ever really witnessed anything going viral before. Though the funniest thing, I think my most popular viewed YouTube video was, I don't know, had over 100,000, 120,000 views or something like that. And it was my chickens. Nothing. I've been doing video games, videos on YouTube for like decades, and my most popular review is just something from my little farmette. But yeah, so my Twitter just going. I don't even know how many followers I had at the time, but now I have like 13,000 followers, which is respectable. It's enough to get some company's attention if they if they're being jerks, which I have some funny stories on. But either way, but when at a time when I would wake up and like had like 25 people at least chatting or mentioning me, I'm like, wait, what did I do? Why are people talking about us? What is going on? So that's just kind of how I like when I trying to figure out what this whole Gamergate thing was and why we're being propped up as an example and like what's going on. And like it was like right in that first week too is with the um what about with the break out the Bible review that they were taking issue with too. So it's like it just kind of all happened at once. Like what is this and what do we do? What do we do wrong? What are we doing right? What's going on? So that's kind of how we all got pulled into it.
Can you define what Gamergate was?
I look at it as just bringing to light of corruption in gaming journalism. There was a lot of there was a lot of collaboration between the sites and pushing their agenda. It's quite honestly, I think it's much like the news these days. Versus, that's the way I look at it. Just media. I don't. It just makes you wonder. Like if you're reading something, like okay, what what is the point? Is this article is it trying to just trying to sway my opinion or what's the point of this, so I don't know. But yes, I just think it's just brought to light, just corruption in gaming journalism.
Can you define? Sorry. Do you consider yourself a gamer? If so, what does that mean to you?
um I would hope so. I think the gamer is anyone that enjoys playing video games as a hobby.
Is that a gendered term for you?
it, no, I think it's pretty inclusive.
On August 28th, 2014, 10 competing publications all published articles on the same day calling for an end to the gamer identity. These 10 articles were followed by 9 additional articles on other mostly gaming sites over the next few days, also calling for an end to the gamer identity. Do you have any thoughts on these articles?
Yeah, that just seems like it's pushing an agenda. So there's just a lot of, yeah, just I don't know, just that's just yeah, I don't know. That just reminds me just of the news today, just reading just a general news site. You just gotta figure out, okay, why is if everything's, I don't know, it just seems like an echo chamber. So if there's no if everyone's going in the same direction, why? And why is that happening? So
What
yeah, that don't, it raises red flags for me.
do you have any theories as to why it happened?
Um, just to probably just spread discord in the gaming community, or just to push promote. I don't know, promote diversity or something. I don't know. I'm not even sure, but it definitely woke gamers up. I'll tell you that.
Do you think that the articles were raising any genuine concerns in the gaming industry, or do you think that there are negative aspects of the gaming industry that should be discussed but weren't in the articles?
Um,
Or gaming culture, too.
yeah. I mean, I think it was. No, I think it's just trying to stir the pot for something. I was it? I mean, if it was really even an issue, I don't know. That's just. I didn't really read those publications too much, so I can't say how far off the mark they were from their normal opinion pieces. So, uh, but just the fact that so many of them are working at the same writing goals. I mean, obviously, when a new game comes out, you're gonna have a bunch of places covering it, and that's not uncommon. But for all these opinion pieces to come out, similarly themed at the same time, it's like, wait, what? Why is this happening?
Are you familiar with the Zoe post that sparked all of this? This
I
particular beginning of the controversy, I guess.
Yeah, I think I probably read it, a long time ago, almost a decade ago. But I've long. I don't have the I don't recall the gist of it, but I probably read it back then, probably like when 2014 or something.
Oh,
So,
yeah, I just read it recently, so
oh, okay.
I thought if you maybe, I thought it'd be interesting to explore what you think of it too, and also the implications of the games press not covering it, or not talking about anything relating to this controversy, because it seems this is not one of the listed questions. It's improv, but
Yeah, sure, sure.
but it very much seems like they're by covering up for the bad actors within their ranks and the bad behavior that people who they were friends with were engaging in, or that they themselves were engaging in. Um, they caused they caused GamerGate for one, and
Mhm.
I think that's like pretty undisputed.
Yeah, yeah.
But like two, they they also like let off the bad actors who were engaged in some really shady stuff. I'm like Zoe Quinn, for instance, and what later happened with Alaka Loka and Tim Saray and a large number of other people. Brad Wardell. Um,
Yeah, so I
like
always get
had
off
people
with a
having.
slap on the wrist.
Are you familiar with like those stories at all? What happened with Alaka Loka or Brad Wardell or Tim Saray after the game, or all the other stuff that happened before with like Cole Nasrallah and all that with Zoe Quinn?
It's it's foggy. It's foggy, but yeah, I don't. Wasn't there like I don't know? Wasn't like a relationship or something like that between them? Was like was it a romance? Or something? I'm trying to think. I don't recall.
It does seem like it probably was. I don't think they were like publicly dating. Um,
Okay.
but they were like roommates and business partners.
Okay. All right.
And she accused him probably falsely
Mm.
of sexually assaulting her,
Ah. Okay.
which he then lost his job and killed himself like a few
Oh.
days
Okay.
later.
Mm.
Um, yeah, pretty like, tragic situation.
Oh wow.
And it
Okay.
seems like there was a huge pattern of behavior before that was covered up. Like I was the
Mm.
first person ever to break the Cole Nasrallah story to investigate it to any like detail. It seems,
Oh
uh,
wow. Okay. Hmm.
or at least publicly, in like a
Well, let's say
major
like
way.
you
Like
would assume like the family would want that detail, like that investigated a
well,
lot further.
Cole Nasrallah is sorry the person who wrote the posts on
Oh,
Facebook
okay.
about something else that it was a whole. She's got a long list of victims. It's a different victim of hers. She
Oh boy.
Cole Nasrallah was a photographer who had a very, very, very bad experience with her, let's say.
Mm.
But you can check out my interview with her if you want to see that.
Okay.
It's a tragic story too, but
Oh
not as
boy.
tragic as the Alcaloca one, of course. And I
Mm,
think Cole ended up in a great place, thankfully. So
mm, wow. But no, that's something. I mean, if there's any, I mean, the fact that these people are getting off without consequences, that's pretty scary.
well, it just seems like the reason I bring it up is because obviously a moral component guides what you do.
Yes.
And I guess I assume that like Polygon would probably say that like a component guides them. It's just like a different set of morals. I'm not sure if they like live up to those or not. But I'm sure they would say that they have like moral principles as well, and like a lot of these other sites would as well. Um, but
Well,
or I don't actually I don't think a lot of them would, but like some of them would. A couple like you and Polygon and I think Kotaku openly call themselves progressive now?
I don't
I think
know.
they do in their About Us page.
Oh,
I
really?
think so,
Well, I
but
mean,
I'd like
but
to
I
double
think,
check.
I guess, I mean, the only thing is also is how how much do they cater to their advertisers? I mean, we don't, CCG doesn't really have, we don't, our advertising income is, I guess say laughable. I mean, we can't, I mean, the site, I mean, a lot of people, I mean, you used to assume like back in the 90s or early 2000s, oh, you run a popular website, you must be making bank, but no, not really. I mean, as I said, my husband and I, we both work full-time jobs. So we don't really, we write reviews and we don't have to worry about offending advertisers because they don't advertise with us, generally speaking. So,
Yeah, Kotaku does
but
not. They call themselves an inclusive site, but they don't use the word
oh,
progressive.
inclusive. I
They use the word
see.
inclusive.
I see.
So, but I bring it up because it just seems like because they made like the decision to say, ah, fuck it, we're not going to cover this. We're going to like protect our friends. All these
Yeah.
negative consequences and positive consequences too came from it, including like directly relating to this, an individual's death. That like if
Wow.
Zoe Quinn had been condemned or at least like criticized and been like, hey, look, you got to stop doing the bad stuff and fucking all these people over in your life. Or I'm sorry, I know you don't like cursing probably, right? How do you feel about that?
I don't. That's not. I don't. Doesn't come out of my mouth, so it's
Okay.
fine. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, because it's a one-on-one conversation. Like what I obviously like in your guest on my show, I'll try to be respectful of
Oh, it's all right.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's fine.
Okay, but so because they decided to cover for her, and they didn't like just say, hey, look, there's some bad stuff that you can't keep screwing these people over throughout your life. It's
Mm.
really hurting people, and if you don't stop that, like obviously we're gonna call you out on it and criticize you because we're the games press. That's our freaking job, right? Our job is to criticize game developers when they do bad stuff. And of course, like they should just report on the situations neutrally or recuse themselves if they can't do that. Um,
Right.
but because they didn't do that, this person ended up working in the industry more. They by doing a Kickstarter and raising a ton of money and never doing the project, basically you could say arguably either scamming those people or being very incompetent, and then making false accusations against two people, Tim Saray and Alec Coloco, one of whom is now dead. And like this is directly the result of them deciding to protect this person. And it seems like there was never any accountability for any of that, or even a recognition that there should be.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I guess if you want to play the religious card, I mean, they're gonna have to answer to God someday on that one. So, there will be justice someday, but it's gonna be a little while. But as for the company, I hope they're ashamed of themselves for enabling these things to happen. And like I said, that it caused the guy to kill himself. That's horrible.
Do you consider yourself to be a games journalist?
Yeah,
And so reviews are journalism in your eyes?
yeah, I would say so. Or
All right, so
opinion pieces. I don't know.
what do you think of games journalism then as a field?
Um, honestly, with the AI out there now, I would be, if that was my source of income, I'd be a little nervous these days.
How responsive to the how responsive do you think the games press was to calls for reform in 2014, 2015?
Um, I don't think I think a lot of the sites targeted, I don't think they listened. But again, I wasn't really a reader before or after the fact, so I can't vouch personally if they've gotten better or not. But I think there's still there's some, a lot of, or at least in the, well, I think in the Kotaku in action, I guess, there's still a lot of negative stuff being said about them. So I don't think there's been enough change in that regard.
You mentioned that you wanted to see in your article you wanted to see a better games press come from Gamergate.
Hmm. Yeah, that was my hope.
Well, what kind of reforms do you think needed to have happened?
um, more transparency. I mean, people appreciate, when we mention if there's any funds received. No, not fun, but like they appreciate the fact that we mention when we get review codes. And so that's, most of our reviews are provided to us, and so we get a lot of obscure ones. I mean, sometimes we ask for the games that we get sent to review, and sometimes I just wake up in the morning and I got like 3 games that I didn't ask for or particularly wanted, but there they are. so um so yes, I guess just more
Obscure ones. I mean,
transparency
some.
and in any gifts that are given. I mean, because sometimes, I mean, we've gotten, I mean, for free mobile games, we've gotten like a box of goodies, and like in one of them, I one of my game reviews for the mobile game. I'd have to look and see which one it is, but like I documented every single thing in that box that I received. It was like 7 items, and they're all just all in like varying value. Like, yeah, thank you for this and this and this and this and this. I mean, so I just think that kind of transparency should be there. Let people know, like, this is the kickback I got. Um, so yeah, I guess that's kind of what I was hoping for.
So, is disclosure enough? Is them just disclosing that they received this game for free, or that they were flown out to the review boot camp for the game, or whatever it happens to be, whatever conflict of interest is there? Is disclosing it just enough in your view?
Well, I think, that would give gamers, or just the readers a better understanding. I mean, that's one thing I try to like keep in mind is if well, I just posted a review recently for Legend of Steel Empire, and it's on the Switch, and it's a $25 game that can be beaten in like 45 minutes. Now, granted, you got some replay value, different difficulties, different ship, whatever, and you can unlock, whatever gallery stuff. But it's like, if I was to spend $25 on a game, I would want more than 45 minutes out of it. I kind of like look at it like a movie experience. If you're gonna spend whatever, how much theaters are these days for a movie, maybe like $12 for a couple hours. All right, if you're gonna put that kind of ratio, it's like, well, the game should be about maybe $15, $10 instead of 25, kind of a thing. So, but if somebody's given a game, they don't really have that financial sacrifice. Like, oh, wait a sec, I had to work whatever 1.5 hours to buy this game, or whatever I had to work to buy. It's just like, but if you're given these things, if everything's just given to you, or like, let's say if you get like a $200 keyboard to review, all right, well, obviously, if it's sent to us to review, that's not no financial hardship there. But what if somebody's got to work a day to buy that keyboard, or a couple days, or whatever the case? There's a big difference, and if you don't mention that, hey, there's a little bit of a disconnect there.
So if one of your writers for your site was accused of engaging in ethical misconduct in relation to their role, how would you
Mhm.
have handled the situation? Or how if they were accused, let's just say.
Um. Well, I guess it really would depend on what the charges are, and how good, what the evidence was. I mean, but if somebody, um if there was, I guess, if it came to light that if we had a reviewer that was taking bribes or something like that, well, we would part ways with them, kind of a thing. Obviously, uh if there was any legal things, we would have to obviously cooperate with the law, or whatever the case, and not, and go from there. But yeah, I mean, we would distance ourselves accordingly. But also, but if there was if we thought the charges, or if there was not no evidence backing the accusations, then we would state that as well until proven otherwise, kind of a thing.
So you're still doing this, not making the big bucks off of it. Do you think that there is a role for good games journalism, and what does that look like, especially when new formats are coming out, like video and podcasts and all these other different ways that people are getting their news, also possibly forms of journalism, some might say. I think I would probably say, like, if you're doing a video, if you're doing your content through the form of video, like that is a journalistic act that doesn't
Hmm.
change just because it's depending on what type of content you're making. That doesn't change just because of the format. So what do you think of like text journalism, the way that you do it on your site versus the changing medium?
Let's see. I mean, we do streams, like, so we like to stream like the first hour of a video game. I don't like to go beyond that, because I like people to play it for themselves, and experience that. So we always kind of like, we experience the first hour together with our stream, if we do a stream, and people can see kind of what the game is about. But then we do the written review, kind of there. We do, so, like, when we do have the written review, the game stream is embedded in the review, so people can, like, read the review and kind of see how it plays in the background. I think it auto plays, if I'm not mistaken, but it's muted. So if somebody were to have the site up at work, then it wouldn't be like blasting, and getting busted in work for reading a review site. But I think, yeah. So we're pretty flexible. I think a lot of kids like the videos, so, but we don't really do video roundups or video overviews. I'm not really, I don't know, I'm not really well versed on video editing. So yeah, that's kind of, if we had somebody on our team that can get some B-roll going in the background and get everything all nice and going, and it has the fast enough the computer to the hour, all the whatever it's called, the encoding it and all that fun stuff. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of different ways to do it. But yeah, I'm all up. There's other people that are more popular. I mean, actually, there are some. I mean, we host on so we rent a web server. That's like one of our biggest expenses. So we rent a web server that we have split up into virtual servers, and we host Family Friendly Gaming's website for them, and they have a huge YouTube following. So I think they have like over 1 million subscribers or something like that, which is, God bless them. That's awesome. So they have a big, YouTube going for them, and our YouTube has got, like, I don't know, 13,000 something. That seems to be the magic number for our Twitter and stuff like that. But we have a bigger Twitter following than them. But again, not huge. But yeah, so yeah, whatever works. I mean, you just gotta hit. know your audience and what they like, and keep fresh content, whether it's written or video or however podcasts, however they want. We did podcasts back in the day. Um, and the funny part, I remember we recorded one, or I thought I recorded one. We did the whole thing, the whole like an hour into it. And, like after I like realized, oh wait, we never were recording. Oh, yeah, yeah, it was kind of funny. So yeah, all kinds of noobish errors, but yeah, I don't know. So there's the internet's a big place, so there's room for everybody if you got an audience and you know what they want, and you can keep them happy.
Now, I've interviewed a couple of other I guess a few other games journalists, and they all report that the money is not great at all.
Mm.
And it seems like there's not enough, or there's either too many games journalists, or there's just not enough of a market. It seems to make a lot of money at least doing this. Um, and how do we think about this? If this is going to be a profession where you're basically going to get paid pennies, maybe even, or a couple
Mm.
of dollars per article, how do we think about the quality of articles that that's going to lead to?
Well, I mean, I think running a Christian game review site, I mean that pigeonholes us quite a bit because there's a lot of companies that don't want to advertise on a Christian site. Like, oh my gosh, they don't like homosexuality in games. We can't be partnering with them, kind of a thing.
Do you have examples of
So
that?
of the games with
Of
the homosexuality.
No, of the companies telling you that, or saying, or giving
Oh,
indication that they wouldn't work with you on those grounds.
um, now I don't know. It's been a long time. I don't actively seek. I mean, I we do have Google ads running on our site. But yeah, I don't have. I don't know. I'd have to look through. I'd have to like really search through my email
Yeah,
archives.
if you want to send me some examples.
Yeah, I'd have to search, but I just like. But it's not like I have people clamoring to advertise on our site. I do have on there that right now the Fiasco Adventures, which is the author. Who actually it's so funny. Like he wrote a nice piece about our website, and then he wanted to advertise on it afterwards. I'm like, oh, I had no idea you're the guy who did that, kind of a thing. Um,
Wait,
but
wait. He bought ads after writing about your site?
yeah.
How do you write? In what capacity did you write about your site?
Um, it was what was the site? It was like the I think it was the Bleeding Fool. I think that was the website, and then he just wrote up about. It was like something like Christ Center Gamer is the gaming outlet we all need, or something like that along those lines.
Bleeding Cool,
No, no,
the
Bleeding Fool. I think
Bleeding
it was
Fool.
something like that. Yeah.
So if they're writing about, did they? I mean, what do you think of that exchange? Them wanting to buy ads after writing about your site. Is there anything there, or is that?
He's just a fan. I'm like, okay. Um, I mean, I disclose that we disclose on the .org site all of our revenue. So I mentioned that
Oh, I
so that
don't think you have a conflict of interest there. To be clear, I'm
oh
not even. I'm
yeah,
not
so
even sure
and
he
it's
does because it happened after the
yeah, it's
fact.
just
It
no,
happened
he's just
after.
like he's like no, I just really like the site and I want a review. I want you to have my book at it. Maybe he sold books with it, so cool. If it works, it works. So it's like he sees he resubscribed he whatever reactivated the banner ads. So hopefully he sold some books. I haven't read so I guess that'd be a bigger conflict of interest if I reviewed that book without disclosing that they advertised on it. So that would be a big conflict of interest. But if he wants to write about the site, I mean that's his freedom of speech. He can write about his now if he wrote a scathing article about our website and then advertise on it, I'd be scratching my head further. But
Yeah, I'm
whatever.
not.
It's a free time.
All right, so you have talk about your Twitter presence. I'm about to tweet something out soon. I'll tag you in it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Do you want to talk about some of these times that you got these funny times that you got the attention of large companies using your Twitter feed?
Sure, sure. Okay, so the most recent example is I was heading home from work, and I was halfway through an intersection and some car turned into me, like into my bumper. So my car actually had like, it was an SUV, so it had like $1,800 worth of damage, but it wasn't like my back bumper was slightly shifted, but their front bumper had a big gaping hole in it. And so we both pulled off into like a hotel parking lot, and I called the cops, and it didn't help that this person did not speak English, so that made communication a little bit more challenging. And the other person was ticketed, and I was just sent home on my merry way. And then it's like, all right, when I realized I had $800, I'm like, okay, or damage. I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta pursue, this through, these repairs through the insurance. But um, they had their insurance denied the claim, and like they just said, like there was no witnesses, no dash cam. You guys both, you know, said you're innocent, and you're like, so therefore we're not covering your claim. And it's like, really? And so I talked to my insurance. I'm like, this doesn't seem right. And they're like, well, we can look into it. So my insurance started looking into it. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to tweet about this. And so I tweeted about it. And like after I was told, tough luck, you're on your own because there's no evidence. I'm like, even, despite the other person being ticketed, but after I tweeted about it, I got an apology call, and lo and behold, my claim was covered. So it's just like, all right. And so yeah, so that's kind of, if they didn't have that voice or that platform, I probably would never got that claim covered. Another instance was I think it was a Minecraft server that we ran, and we used a paid Minecraft service. And like I think we were having issues with it, and like we were trying, like they like deleted our world or something like that. Which, I mean, obviously players are mad. You spend hours building stuff, or whatever, days, weeks, whatever it is, building stuff, and then poof, it's just gone. And the hosting company says, "Oh well," and then like we try to back out of the contract because obviously they weren't backing it up or whatever they were doing, and it's like we had a PayPal dispute, and then after tweeting about it, whatever, PayPal sided with us, and we got that resolved. So yeah, so just those are just a couple examples that come to mind.
So having an active social media is very useful.
Yes,
Being
yeah,
popular is
yeah.
useful.
Yeah, and like this is not like, I mean, I guess it's a nice level of popularity where I can like like leave my house and not worry about paparazzi or anything like that. But but I guess having a lot enough platform to scream when there's an injustice, and people actually will take note and listen. So that's pretty good too.
Unfortunate though that you had to rely on that.
Yeah, no, that was crazy. It's like I couldn't believe it. It's just like, wait a second, let's just look at the physics here. Their front bumper was damaged. My rear bumper was damaged. Who is at fault? It's like, come on. And they were ticketed. I was not. This really seems like an open and shut case. But yeah, it's crazy.
Some game. Oh, hang on. What does good games journalism look like to you? If it's any different from what you currently do.
Uh, I just think one that's just honest, that's just doesn't have anything to hide from their readers, and they're not stupid. I mean, if you're fluffing up reviews because you're getting money on the advertising or whatever it is, and you're deceiving, making a game sound better than it is, so you don't tick off your advertisers, you're going to get some upset readers when they buy a game that's mediocre at best. So yeah, just yeah, I don't know, just be honest. Obviously everyone's entitled opinions, and everyone's got different tastes on that. So there's just like, what do you mean You like Diablo 4? Yeah, but not everybody did. So okay, but oh well, it's an opinion. Can't please everybody, but if I have fun with the game, I have fun with the game. It's like I think I'm playing the I'm playing the recent remake, the Xbox Saint Row game or Saints Row. I haven't played the other ones, but so far I'm liking this one. Though I think a lot of people are saying that this new one's crap compared to the other one. So now it makes me curious about the other ones. But I don't know. But it's an opinion. I think it's a fun game, but I guess I have to see to get to fully appreciate. I'd have to check out the other ones now too.
Some GamerGate supporters believe that pressuring advertisers to pull out would be a good way to convince gaming publications to initiate ethical reforms. What do you think of these strategies? Of this strategy?
Well, I think it's. I mean, that's a strategy that's used for all kinds of news organizations these days. To be honest, uh, I mean, does it work? Yes. Is it the best method? Well, I don't know. I guess it really depends on. I guess it depends. I mean, it's effective. Um, so does it get their attention? I would hope so. Does it make change? I don't know. Maybe do they just find more advertisers? I don't know. I mean, a lot of those sites that were being targeted are still there. So I guess in the long run, didn't really make that much difference. But it probably made them tight for a little bit and got maybe I don't know, got their attention. But all in all, I don't know how much of a difference it made in the end.
Do you think that the Gawker's claim of the seven figures uh, was a serious harm that combined with Hulk Hogan, his lawsuit, uh, brought down Gawker?
Uh maybe. Yeah. I mean, I can't handle six figures or seven figures. So yeah, I don't. It wouldn't take much to take down my site, I guess. So perhaps I certainly couldn't take down Hulk Hogan. So
In September 2014, it was revealed that nearly 150 games journalists from competing publications were in a mailing group called Game Journal Pros. What did you think of this revelation?
um, well, I was never on that list, and so I guess that was considered a positive for me. So good for that. I don't know. I'm curious what they all talked about. I mean, but it's. I mean, I try to avoid working with
Think of this revelation?
having that close relationship with other I guess I guess I don't know. It made me wonder what they talk about. You know, if I don't know. I think it seems shady, but I don't know what those emails entailed.
It's all public
I
now.
can't- okay. All right. I never looked at them, but it's funny because I mean, how hard would it to to compile such a list? I mean, I don't know about you, but I've gotten emails where not necessarily. I mean, I think it has been at least a press release or two, but maybe even like a school email where somebody instead of someone didn't discover BCC and here I am with on a list with 100 email addresses. I'm like, well, geez, come on. Um but yeah, so I don't know, I wasn't on it, so that was good. But yeah, I didn't look at those emails, but yeah, it seems shady to me.
Why didn't they include you in their woke book club?
Probably because I wouldn't read it. I don't read very much.
Do you have any thoughts on deep freeze?
I think it's a helpful resource. I mean, I know they said, I know we're on there. And some of the other sites, um, are on there as well I recognize. I can't say I don't know. I'm not familiar with all the publications on there, but I think it's a handy resource.
In August 2015, Michael Koretsky, a regional director for the Society of Professional Journalists, hosted the SPJ Airplay Conference. The idea of the conference was to have journalistic ethics experts meet with Gamergate supporters to discuss their concerns about games journalism and the way the media covered Gamergate. The second half of the conference was interrupted by bomb threats, forcing the convention center to be evacuated. Do you have any thoughts on this event?
That's sad. That's sad. I mean, the intentions were good, and then it had to be ruined by a bomb threat. That's sad.
Did you watch the conference yourself?
No, I can't say I have.
Oh, well, the next question was, why do you think the media? Why do you think the media didn't? Well, you're. Did you ever think about writing about the airplay event as someone who had some voice in the industry through your platform, through your site?
Yeah, not really. Just we don't really go too much. I mean, we don't have too much time for opinion pieces on things like that. But no, I mean, I can appreciate it. I can definitely and appreciate it. We just kind of just do our own thing, and but if someone's got feedback about us, we'll definitely look at listen to it and take it to heart. So yeah, if people wanted us to change about stuff, I remember sometimes people will tell us like, dude, you got to cover more AAA games. And I'd be like, okay, look, we're on a shoestring budget. We cannot afford to buy three $60 titles a month, let alone have time to play them because we're all working full-time jobs. So I mean, I guess within reason we can take the feedback, but I mean, I could definitely appreciate. I mean, and like events like that should be covered. I just wish we had time to do so because again, we don't have the resources or ability to write too many opinion pieces on top of the other reviews that we're obligated to write.
Did you happen to see the South by Southwest Save Point panel or the Arch Anime and Natsucon panels,
No, sorry.
or the Airplay documentary?
No,
Okay,
I'll have to add that to my list.
it's not bad. The first half is about games journals. The second half is about whatever the Airplay PM panel was about, which it's which is
Mhm.
they're both it's a very interesting work. I'll say that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Um, do you have any thoughts
Noted.
on the Kunkel Awards?
They're no longer around, I think. But I appreciate what they were trying to do and recognizing good journalism. I
Cor-
don't know. I don't know. I know we've gotten like nominated on Twitter for things. I don't think that was the one that people were nominating us for, but I know people have mentioned us on some sort of journalism awards, but I don't think that was the one.
Yeah, they only did it for about 5 years, I think. But Koretsky considers it to be a success because he actually convinced the SPJ to have an excellence in gaming, a games journalism award as part of their normal show. So while the Kunkel Awards themselves don't exist, the SPJ does still give games journalism specific awards. But I think it's only one award now. I think I could be
Okay.
mistaken. Whereas it
Well,
used
that's
to be
cool.
multiple categories.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a difference. That's cool.
I'd have to look into it. Maybe they do multiple categories. I'll have to fact check that later. Um, some Gamergate supporters say that they got involved to advocate for what they saw as creative freedom, the right of artists to make the art that they want to make without fear or censorship or shoddy localization. What did you think of this aspect of the conversation, and did you consider it to be related to the Gamergate controversy?
Um, I don't know if that's related. I mean, I don't know if it's related to the GamerGate thing, but um, I mean, I guess with the prevalence of AI stuff, I mean, I think I'm just reading things where, well, I guess some of the headlines I've read recently, I think some AI made some George Carlin stand-up routine after being dead, and there's like I don't know X-rated other stuff generated through AI. Is that their right? I don't think so. Without, I mean, obviously, someone's dead, like George Carlin. I don't think he can't really give permission. But if you're taking AI generated stuff and making it X rated without that person's permission, I think that's a problem. Or, I mean, obviously, if people take um, I mean, how many games or fan-based games has Nintendo taken down because they're using intellectual property without permission? So I don't know. I mean, people are able to express themselves, but you have to follow the law as well. So I don't know. It's definitely there's two sides to that coin, and looking at it objectively, it's like, all right. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have to say, I did. I guess okay. Well, I guess one example I could think of is it was funny. There's somebody made like a Christ centered gamer or something like that, like a Twitter account. And the funny thing is they used our image, like they used our logo or something like that. And I think it was just a total fluke. They were not trying to parody the site or anything like that. They're just a Christian gamer, but they were using our logo. And so like I followed them on Twitter, and I was like liking their tweets and whatever, and just like letting them know, like, hey, that's our logo. Can you make yourself a new one, dude? Kind of a thing. And you got the message, and like, but it's like, all right, well, since then, we trademarked it, but we like the trademarks though. It's like it was specific when we applied for the trademark. They're like, all right, well, yes, you can do Christ Center Gamer, but you can't be a stickler on the gamer part because that's just too vague. But Christ Center Gamer together, we can go after if we had to. Um, so yeah, so I guess obviously there's a within reason. And I say you have to like stay in the legal grounds. You can't go infringing on copyright. Now that the what should we call it, like the Mickey Mouse copyright or whatever is over. There's like now there's video games and it's like horror games featuring Mickey Mouse and some silly stuff like that. But I don't know. Like I said, it's definitely
Well, that's because it's public domain, right? The Mickey Mouse
yeah,
stuff. That's why.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But and that's legal to do now. But before, Disney can go after you. So yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, there's definitely. I mean, yeah, I get it, freedom, but there's also limitations as well.
When you say freedom but limitations, in the artistic freedom context, what do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, you should have permission. I mean,
Oh, you
I
can't
think that's
plagiarize other people's content, right?
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
exactly. I mean,
sure.
that's
Like
just
no one disagrees with or copyright theft, right? Well,
yeah.
some people agree that copyright theft is bad. Like the is good, but
Well, I mean, like I said, like if Weird Al parodies a song, he usually gets permission. I
well,
think.
parody is fair use, right? If it's an actual parody.
Yeah, right, right. And I think it's just courtesy though to get permission. Like, hey, look, I really like your song. You mind if I do that? And if you don't, if they're most time people are cool about it. Like they're honored or humbled about it. But but if they're really against it, maybe you should think twice. Even though it is your legal right, but you're gonna make an enemy. Is it worth it? So I don't know.
It depends on the context. Like obviously, like if you're satirizing like McDonald's and McDonald's says, "Please don't satirize us," you would take that differently than you would if you were satirizing like a normal random person who's not famous and not doesn't have any power at all in society.
Yeah, but doesn't like McDonald's and like Wendy's totally blast each other on Twitter or something like that sometimes? I don't know. I think those are funny.
I think sometimes the brands cringeworthily attack each other. Maybe it's funny too sometimes.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know.
Do you think that there are should be limits when it comes to what not when it comes to like illegal content, but like everything allowed in the First Amendment? Do you think that like there's a video game that somebody could make where you'd be like, okay, Doom and Mortal Kombat were one thing, but this is like on a whole other level. We shouldn't allow this. It should be illegal for people to make art like this. Is there any line when it comes to books or movies or video games that you might think might be like, okay, it's time for the government to step in?
I think if there was I mean, I think if stuff I mean, okay, let's just say, I mean, people are going to vote with their wallet regardless, right? I mean, so somebody can make a game that bashes Christianity. Now, I don't foresee too many Christians buying a game like that, but it's their right to do so or their right to boycott it. But I mean, I think obviously, and again, this should be common sense. If there was a game, if you want to call it a game or an art form or a whatever, and it had actual image or portrayal of like sexual molestation of children or something like that. I mean, so why? No, that'd be like it's like stuff like that on hard drives someone can get arrested for. That shouldn't be on a video game that people can download and have on
What
their
you
hard
mean,
drive.
like you mean like lally, or do you mean like normal, like
Well,
dead?
or photo, like let's say photorealistic or something. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Things that people. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, just trying to keep it within the legal bounds. I mean, obviously, yeah, there's visual novels, and there's a lot of times visual novels will have 18 plus patches on them and whatever. I mean, that's people want to buy that if they want to do that or whatever. That's up to them, and then it'll be up to the company. Like, well, we only sold X number of patches, 18 plus patches. It wasn't worth it to do, to have the artist do this, and only like two people bought it or whatever.
Yeah, well, I don't think
Let
they
your
should sell the
wallet.
patches separately. I think that that's like milking the consumer. I think that they should be included with the full product. Are there companies that do that? Well, I guess I'm
Well,
asking the wrong person.
I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe there's two different like I've seen,
Yeah, there's two
I've
different versions, but I don't think they charge
maybe,
extra for the 18
maybe they
plus.
don't. Yeah, yeah. I
But
think
what if they
sometimes
do? It's bad. I wouldn't support that consumer
yeah,
practice. But
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I know. Sometimes we've reviewed visual novels that are available on Steam, and we play the censored version, and the uncensored version is available on Dempasoft or something like that. Is there? I don't know about the patches. I don't know if they're extra. I don't know. I haven't really. I'm not really an 18 plus patch consumer. So so yeah, they're out there. I don't know, but there's sometimes there's different versions. But I guess let's just say if they sell more censored versions, or if they sell more uncensored versions, now they know where their market's at, or if is it worth pursuing one over the other. I mean, just let your wallet vote on that.
okay,
And
but
and then they'll get the message like, oh, that was worth it, or that wasn't, or people like super violent games, let's make more, or people like cartoon, whatever, My Little Pony games, make those. I don't care, whatever people will buy, cater to your audience.
okay, so with the possible exception of the Lolicon or adjacent Lolicon stuff, you don't think the government should get involved and try and ban these things
um
or suppress the free speech of the artists?
I mean, they should. I mean, I agree with the ESRB system. I think that's very helpful, but it's not really enforced. So I think I'm okay with that system, and I think but the problem is with that is that's only on games that are available on consoles. Most of that stuff on Steam doesn't have an ESRB rating.
Well, that's because
So
they're independent games. They
yeah, exactly. So people might not know what kind of stuff is in there. So yeah, and I don't know. I mean, as far as how would they make it illegal? I mean, there's always going to be. I don't know. I mean, it'd be a hard thing to do because people can always, a lot of things people can mod games and add things after the fact, and then what are they going to do then? So I don't know. I think it'd be hard to enforce.
they're gonna ban them from Nexus mods. That's what they'll do. Did you see that
Yeah.
controversy?
No.
Oh,
No. But
I'm probably way more plugged into like the culture war shenanigans in the gaming world. Consider your
Probably, and unfortunately,
cons-
I gotta, like I said, I'm working full time job, so I gotta,
yeah.
I can't be as plugged in as I'd like to be. But
I try not to be too plugged in anymore. But obviously due to the nature of what I'm working on, it comes up every once in a
yeah,
while.
sure.
Consider yourself blessed that you don't have to deal with that as much. Though it can be interesting sometimes.
Yeah.
What do you think of the arguments that video games can cause and or yeah, video games can cause and or reinforce sexist attitudes?
Well, it's not just video games. I mean, it can be any kind of media, to be honest. I mean, How I can think of many TV shows where like the dad is portrayed as a bumbling idiot. You got like, The Simpsons, Homer Simpson, and you got like, I don't know, Married with Children or whatever, just so like the dad, where the dads are just fools or whatever. Um and so yeah, I mean, yeah, there's multiple, it's not just video games. And there's obviously movies. Uh, so yeah, I don't know. There's multiple examples that where there's different stereotypes or tropes at play.
Do you think that these various tropes hurt people in real life?
I don't know. We have a lot of sensitive people out there.
No, I mean
Uh,
like cause real life harm, not like my feelings got hurt.
oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I mean, I guess you,
All right.
unless you consider that to be like a form of harm.
Yeah, I mean, I think people sometimes get butthurt over it, but that's, uh, I don't know. But as far as physical harm, I don't know.
Or what I guess they would say that like people playing Grand Theft Auto or a game that has sexist attitudes in their opinion in the game, that will lead to the people who play the game becoming accultured to a world that in which sexism is viewed as permissible in some contexts, like in the context of a video game character saying something
Hmm.
sexist, and that this will cause the person in real life to view women in a more negative light, and this 5% gradient shift of their opinion towards women in real life, or men, or it could be anybody, right? Um, will cause them to hurt that person in real life, and they'll become more likely to be an abuser because they adopt like a sexist attitude, because they adopted a sexist attitude because they grew up in a culture and a society and parents and schools or whatever it is that promoted that attitude. And one aspect of that promotion, even if it's only a small aspect, is the game Grand Theft Auto or Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball or whatever it is that they're upset about at any given moment.
I think that that's a bit of a stretch. I mean, because but again, it's not just video games. It's like whatever kind of media you have available to you. So, like, let's say if somebody hasn't played Grand Theft Auto, what if they're listening to rap music talking about killing cops and killing whatever, or watching violent movies? Sure, if you play a violent video game or whatever, or if you like, I had a neighbor in my old house. She had like a first grader son playing Call of Duty games, and she's wondering why the kid's getting nightmares. It's like, well, let's sit and think about that. Maybe your kid shouldn't be playing these mature war games. How about that? But again, if it wouldn't be any different, like let's say if this first grader was watching Saving Private Ryan instead, same effect. So it's not necessarily just it's not just video games. It could there's so many different. I mean, it could be the books you read that are giving you vivid descriptions of things, or putting ideas out there. I mean, I joke around. I mean, we were just my husband and I this weekend we were at this camp and people were walking in front of people from our own darn church actually were walking in front of us, and I made the joke, "Hey, look, pedestrian point system." Um, it's just yeah, it doesn't matter. Not that I'm not gonna really hit people or get points for it, but it's just funny because I used to play games like Carmageddon. Um, but yeah, it's just I don't know. I think it's an excuse. I mean, if you want to put the religious spin on it, I mean, people are sinners, and it's a sin issue. It's not really a Grand Theft Auto. It could be any game they play. It could be any movie they watch. It could be any book they read, or it could be any song they listen to. The ultimate problem is the person.
Do as a Christian, you don't have to answer this in regards to how you review games for your site, but do you think do you personally believe that game developers have a moral responsibility to not put certain things in their game, or to otherwise put things in their game that you think are good, or not put in things that you think are bad?
Well, I mean, that's their choice. I mean, it really depends on what their audience is going to be, and I can tell them, "Hey, look, you put this and this and this in your game, we're going to subtract this and this and this." Or, hey, if you, hey, you know what? If you put an if you have violence in your game, hey, it'd be really we'd appreciate it if you could put the option to disable it. Or there's a lot of times you could you or like uh you sometimes there used to be an option like to filter language as well. I mean, there's some things like a lot of times when games will have a chat, and you can have the chat, whatever, censor certain words or not show certain words. I mean, you can put chat filters in. So I mean, there are things they can do to make a game more family friendly, or they can just say, to heck of it, we're going to make this game as offensive as we possibly can, and that's their choice. That's that's on them to make to do. Just don't expect to get a good score on our site.
So you wouldn't view it as like a moral failing of Rockstar Games, for instance, or the people who made Honey Pop.
Mm.
Like,
No, I mean, that's that's between them and God. I mean, it's not. I mean, that they know what they're. That's. I don't know. I think if my son made a game like Honey Pop, I'd be a little disappointed in him. As a parent, and definitely like I'm sure our church would be a little disappointed. um, but you know that's that's between them. I mean, as far as I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess I feel bad. Like, let's say if somebody came onto our Discord server and started chatting with us, and maybe somebody rubbed them the wrong way. They thought Christianity was bad because of this bad experience. I'd feel bad about it. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do they feel any moral guilt or regret? Probably not. So I don't know.
well, well, we can get to that later. Used to there used to be filters for gore or swearing, you say.
Mm-hmm.
This is a feature that you feel has not been included in many newer games.
Correct.
Why do you think don't do that? And do you have examples of the decline, like a statistical analysis or a list
Oh,
of
I haven't.
like?
Yeah, it's just not. I don't. I haven't. No, I haven't made a list. I mean, I think. I think. Well, I mean, just the moral decline. It was kind of funny. I think I streamed Cyberpunk, the like a day one stream of that, and then I found out the hard way that, oh, look at that, I'm gonna have to go edit my YouTube video and put blur boxes on there. So I didn't know my characters would be on the main screen naked. Okay then.
uh,
So
so
yeah,
you want them to bring back this and give people more options if they want to remove the
yeah,
gore or the swearing or
that
I
would be
guess
nice.
the large,
That would,
yeah.
yeah, but again, but maybe it's not economically feasible. Maybe, they said, well, shoot, if we implement this feature, it's going to cost us whatever, $500,000 and or maybe whatever, 20 hours in manpower, and only 10 people are going to use it. But hey, we'll get a good review from CCG. Is that worth it? I don't know, maybe not. So I don't know, but as a parent, I think it would be a nice feature.
And you also
But
say that you're not happy with the ESRB. Um, what exactly are your issues with them as an entity or as the job or as a
oh,
critique of their job?
um, well, I mean, one, I think I can never find their I can't find half of the reviews on their site. I actually have to, if I want to find the ESRB rating, I have to go to like Nintendo or Xbox or PlayStation Store site to find out what the actual rating is because I can't find it on their site. So that's one beef I have with them. Another one is like, I mean, my understanding is they take the developer's word or the word for what's in the game, and they don't actually see it for themselves. So
Is that true? I thought they do play the games.
do they just watch videos? I thought they just watched
Oh,
video
maybe they
clips. So
watch videos. But I know that developers, I don't know if this is a thing anymore. I know that developers in the past used to like put in like secret Easter eggs that only like people who like were really hardcore would find, or if they looked them up online. Um,
Mhm.
and that this would get they would put stuff in there sometimes that would get around the ESRB. because they would like if you enter like this code, it'll uncensor something, you know. And the
Yeah,
ESRB, because they didn't publicly advertise this, the ESRB didn't know about it.
yeah,
Um, I don't think they're
yeah,
I don't think they're supposed to do that,
yeah.
because they're
Right,
like
right,
they're
right.
kind of like lying to the ESRB. But I know that
Yeah.
it's like
Well,
a a thing that some of them used to do. I don't think that's common anymore though.
yeah. I'm not sure, but like I said, the thing that like, the biggest thing is like they're not on their they're not on I mean I don't know how much if there's still what the fee is to be even rated by them, but I just know that a majority of a lot of the stuff, at least a lot of stuff on Steam, are not even they don't have no rating. So again, this is all and sometimes the developer will be nice and upfront on what to expect, like especially stuff in our Steam curator. They're like, hey, look, we really like your reviews, and here's what's in our game. Can you look at it? And here's what we're aware of. If you find anything else, let me know. But sometimes a lot don't even have any. There's no idea whatever what's in the game, and there's no rating to for a parent to go by. And we certainly don't have the resources to review every Steam game that comes out.
What do you think that Steam should be allowed to sell games that don't have ESRB ratings?
Um, I mean, I think that if there was if there was some sort of rating feature, that'd be helpful for parents. But maybe instead of making games illegal, maybe try to find a way to rate them so people can know what's in them, give them a little bit, inform them more. I guess. So yes,
No,
more information, less banning.
yeah. Though I'm not sure it's feasible for there to be any entity that rates every single game out there possible.
Yeah, it's a
Because
lot.
especially when you're dealing with like the indie games that are like, one person made this, you know.
Yeah, oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Though like I personally don't like I'm not a religious person. And I don't have kids. So, though I may at some point probably. But I'm not like super concerned on a personal level about like, oh no, this game doesn't have a rating. I don't know what to expect, you know. Um, though aren't there isn't there I know like the woke people made this. The woke people made this site. Um, I guess Christians could do the same, and so could like Muslims, where it's users rating like how woke the game is to see if
No,
it
it's
lives
like a
up.
like a
Well, they
like a
don't call it
Metacritic.
that. They don't call it that. They call it like, does the game have my triggers or something? Um,
Okay.
I swear there used to be this website. I don't know if it exists anymore. But like where users, you put in the name of a game, maybe it was like movies and stuff too. I don't know, and it would tell you like, oh, this movie features, sewer slide, or this features, um, you know, a sexual assault scene, or X, Y, or
Hmm.
Z, and then people would be able to make their own decisions based on users upvoting what they think is true or not. Maybe something like that, where it doesn't even have to be on Steam itself, but like an external site or something that people could go to, and it would be like, oh, well, this game features the satanic stuff or it features drug use or whatever it happens to be.
Hmm. Oh, interesting. I mean, the internet's a big place, so there's room for everything out there.
What do you think of the argument that video games cause violence?
Well, I don't know what caused it before video games. Was it music? Was it books? Was it movies?
Yes, all
I
of those
don't know.
things. Dungeons and
Yeah.
Dragons too.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's always. It's just I don't know. It's like it's not guns that kill people. It's the bullets. But yeah, I don't know. There's always something. Before bullets and guns, it was rocks or knives. There's always gonna be something. It's like all right, it's just the latest thing to get blamed.
So you see the people who are trying to blame violence on video games, you view them as being part of like a long list of moral panics that all tried to come up with some sort of hot button issue at the moment to try and like easily solve our problems or otherwise enforce their worldview on other people, um, with very little backing.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
As someone who was a Christian, and obviously Christians had a wide variety of views on Dungeons and Dragons probably, but obviously some Christians had a very negative view in the 1970s and 80s. Um, and they tried to like make it illegal and stamp out people playing Dungeons and Dragons because they thought it caused people to become, I guess, bad people in some way. Uh, did you engage in those conversations or talk to people who had views about that at the time, or did you see that at all?
Well, I was very young. I mean, I was born in 1978, so I didn't really have much say in the 70s.
Well, fair
Um,
enough.
if if I
Sorry
did,
to have dated you too much.
so um, but yeah, I think even in the 80s, I probably didn't know much about Dungeons and Dragons. So fast forwarding to high school years, I think I played Dungeons and Dragons at least a couple of role playing games, a little bit. But yeah, I think um, it's interesting because I think there was these popular comics, or I don't know how well, there's these things called chick tracks where they were like little gospel, like little gospel comics that you can pass out. And I remember they did have one that was themed off of Dungeon and Dragons, and I think it's kind of like so cringe and meme worthy that I think people that play Dungeon and Dragons laugh at it because like whoever they got so vested in their character that like when their character died they committed suicide or something like that because that's how bad Dungeons and Dragons is or something like so like, that was kind of like the moral of the story or something. Um, so yeah, I don't know. There's always gonna be extreme views, and it depends on what who's your dungeon master, like what kind of environment are they putting in. It doesn't have to be you know doesn't have to be satanic. You can fight against whatever the dungeon master wants you to fight against. You don't have to fight against demons. You can fight against orcs. You can do whatever you want. Just I don't know. There's always going to be extremists, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I like the way you put that because it's absolutely true. Actually, I just did a D&D match last night. Well, it was actually a modified version of like the Alien RPG rule set, I guess. But
Mm.
my friend made an RPG. Like it very much depends on your dungeon master and your group, like what kind of experience you're going to get.
Yes.
It's entirely curated by, well, oneself and basically the DM. And you don't even like need to have like formal rules because people I don't violate them all the time.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah, but that's part of the experience. It's you being able to create your own adventure with your group essentially. Um,
Hmm.
and part of I think what's important is that we like inculcate society with like a culture of pluralism, and like that means like recognizing that there's going to be like a large number of different people, including like the people who have like 9.7 hours of honey pop on their Steam, and people who are devout Christian believers or Muslim or Hindu or whatever, and have like a strong set of moral principles they have based on that, and like all of these people should be able to like coexist in society. And I think
Hmm.
that part of the problem with the Gamergate thing and also like with life in general, our political culture, is that we've lost that, or we're beginning to lose that. And beginning
Hmm.
might be a bit too generous.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, no, it's definitely. I don't know, man. The world's a much different place than it was 10 years ago. It's just crazy. It's just some of these things that my kids have to see and are dealing with. It's just like I had no idea the world was gonna go this crazy this fast.
Well, we're going to be getting to the politics section later, but we can talk about
Yeah.
we can diverge slightly now and jump back to the politics later if you want, or do you want to save it all for then?
However, yeah, but
Uh, okay, so what are the crazy things that your kids are seeing?
well, I mean, they get to deal with like I mean in like middle school, they had transgender people. It's like, wait, you have a biological boy changing in the girls' locker room, kind of stuff like that. That wouldn't have been allowed when I was in school. Just stuff like that. I just I mean obviously all the, I mean, just the politics and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, I think voting was a lot easier when the voting machines were not online. But stuff like that.
Wait, the voting machines were not on. Wait, what?
No, well, okay, fine. What I mean is like, if you have voting machines connected to the internet, that's not good. It's not good.
Is that a common?
Anything.
Obviously, elections are run at the local level, well, state and local level at the United States. Is this a common phenomenon? And have there been reported issues with this?
Oh, there's been issues with election machines being online, and then and if they're online, then they can send and receive data, which is not something you want during an election process.
Well, do you have reason to think that this has influenced uh, specific electoral outcomes?
Oh, well, I think the other well there was a trajectory in
Well, hang
the
on.
2020 election.
Let's first establish that there actually were voting machines connected to the internet on a large scale. What is your best evidence for this?
um well, let's see. I think there was like a dump of like IP addresses or whatever on there. I'd have to dig it up, but
I
just
did find an article that says that 35 individual machines were reportedly connected to the internet, but I can't find anything else like this being like a widespread
okay.
issue. I know
All
that.
I know
Wait, are you really talking
is
about the Dominion lawsuit where they
oh yeah.
though Fox News lost in court and was forced to apologize and recognized they paid them, what was it, some huge settlement fund?
Mm, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Yeah.
they
Wait a
they
minute. I just
so
as
yeah, Fox News lost the lawsuit because they defamed, according to the courts, Dominion voting systems, and it cost them, what was the settlement? 1.6 billion dollars.
okay. Well, I don't have that kind of money, just if I say things. Um, but all I know is just as an IT person, I do not want anything of mine on the internet that does not need to be on the internet. I mean, I've seen like crock pots with Wi-Fi. It's like, really? Why the heck do I want my crock pot to have an internet connection? Or just my thermostat is dumb. I'm fine with that. just I just don't like things online if they don't have to be.
But so what specifically though about the voting machines made you think that they're online, or like, or is there evidence I'm not seeing? Because again, I haven't like deeply looked into this topic.
Uh, well, like I said, I think it's probably probably because the Dominion stuff. I mean, I think I don't know. Mike Lindell had some. I don't know. He paid something like he was having some hackers look into it or whatever. He had like bunches and bunches of IP addresses or whatever. I don't know the exact details. It's just like, okay, well, those shouldn't be online unless they're transmitting the results some way, but otherwise they should be offline. But I don't know.
Okay, well, I don't personally view Mike Lindell as being like a highly credible source of information. I'd have to like look, I guess, at what his exact analysis is. But I would not immediately like believe that.
Yeah, like I guess I know he had I don't know where he got those IP addresses or whatever. I don't know. That's like he was like paying. I don't. He was offering rewards or something. I don't know.
So,
I
sorry, go ahead.
oh no, sorry. It's like I just
W-
I don't know the credibility of the data whatever. But I'm just saying like okay, well, regardless, those things shouldn't be online. That's all.
So you do you want to talk about? So you mentioned the 2020 election. Like what is like the big claim that you would like to make there?
Well, there was like a funny. No, it's kind of sad. Like there was like I don't know. There was like a meme of I think it was like a what do you call it? Is it the pole vault or whatever the case? Like the Trump had the trajectory, it was winning, and then like at like whatever 3 a.m. or something like that, there was a huge spike for Biden. and Biden made it over the pole vault. It's just like, okay, that's just yeah. I went to bed thinking he was gonna be president. I woke up and found out he lost. It's like, well, that was weird. So that's all.
Well, isn't that precisely because of the mail-in votes, which Trump himself knew was going to result in a change? Result in not necessarily a change, but result in more votes coming in and being counted. The mail-in votes not necessarily being of the exact statistical breakdown as the in-person votes due to different demographics voting by mail versus voting in person. In part because his campaign expressly discouraged people from voting by mail.
Um. Well, I mean, I don't know regarding the. Did you ever see the documentary the 2000 Mules?
No, I have not.
Okay. All right. Well, that's an interesting one too. So there's a lot of. I mean, as long as there's mail-in ballots, there's room for unfair elections. So it's
Well,
just
haven't we had
there's
mail-in
always going to be.
ballots over? Haven't we had mail-in ballots for basically decades, if not a couple hundred
Well,
years?
we've also had dead people voting for decades. So there's nothing new there.
I'm not sure it's a common issue in our elections today for there to be dead people who vote.
Well, I'm just saying, but there's always been some nefarious votes, regardless throughout history. So
Well, do you think that there were enough of these nefarious votes in the year 2020 to falsely put the wrong person as the winner?
I know that there were. I mean, they're there. Like I saw, like videos of like kicking the ballot counters out, and then like bags coming out, and people are running all these all these ballots in and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'd be curious what the how many vote-in or mail-in ballots were Republican versus Democrat, but I would wager that most of the mail-in ballots were Democrat.
And do you? Well, that's probably yes, that is true. I do agree. That most likely is the case. That I think that was the case.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm just saying it's and I'd be
Not
curious
about
how many.
the people grabbing the bags, and I can't speak to those specific videos. I've not gotten to
Okay.
that point in my research yet. Um,
Okay.
but uh, yeah, I'm sure if he had compelling evidence, I'm sure Trump could have brought this to the courts, which he did. And I wouldn't view the courts as inherently being bad brokers in this. Many of the
Mm.
judges appointed by himself.
Yeah. No. Right. Right. Right.
And also, I think that our legal system is like broadly responsive actually to various issues and like generally relatively effective.
Yeah. I guess it depends what state you live in.
Well, so are you aware though that President Trump had planned on declaring the election to be fraudulent in advance? I just learned this like 3 days ago. I mean, I knew
Oh.
he promoted like the stuff about mail-in votes and like tried to hype it up, but I didn't know he like directly planned
Hmm.
until like literally 2 days ago. Because I'm reading
Huh.
through the January 6th report, and I'm also going to be reading through the
Oh,
Jack
really?
Smith indictments
Okay.
as well.
Okay. No. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious how this year's elections are gonna go.
Some political activists believed that using social media campaigns to demand artists change their artistic elements of their work was a good thing, like hashtag change the cover. Some in GamerGate thought that this was going too far and or could have a chilling effect on artists. What did you think, or do you have any thoughts on this tactic?
Again, this is where consumers should vote with their wallet. If a game box or a music CD or a book has obscene art, don't buy it. Hurt them, hurt them, you know, hurt their profitability, and then maybe they'll get the message. But forcing it to change something, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be effective. But I still think voting with your wallet is very effective.
Where do you think the lines are between criticism and a censorship campaign?
Hmm. Um. Let's see. Well, I mean, criticism you can respond to better, I think, than a censor. um. So I think criticism is better. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think censorship. I mean, I think that should be something reserved for extreme cases. Like I can understand. Well, I guess for example, like let's say a if there's an obscene music CD cover and Walmart, I can understand them having a cover, a censored cover, so some 6-year old doesn't pick up this music CD that's got bright colors and sees whatever full female anatomy or male anatomy or whatever the case. So I can understand some sort of censorship on that regard, but whoever buys said CD should have the ability to remove that censored whatever thing blocking the image if desired. If that makes sense.
Do you have any? Yeah. So you want the stores like put a cover on it if it's like express nudity or whatever. I guess the store small business owner or business owner feels is like should be covered based on their individual store's values and ideas and market.
Mhm. Yeah.
Which I'm, which I agree with that they have the right to do that. Though I would be maybe concerned like that might like industry wide go too far. Like if it happened to be the case, I don't think it would be. But if it happened to be the case that like Walmart, Target, Amazon, and like Steam all happen to agree that like oh this specific type of art is uh is something we don't want to sell, then it probably would have like a censorious impact or a chilling impact on like the types of artworks that be made just because of the market share that these various retailers have.
Was with like ESRB, like some games would not go push things too far to get the adult only rating, so their game would not be available to all at Walmart and stuff. And then, I mean, the same thing can be said for like, um, I mean, I guess I would assume, um, I mean, I don't know. It's been a while since I'm in bookstores. I haven't seen a brick and mortar bookstore in a while. Um, but I think to me it would be logical for the whole censorship thing, or just audience. I mean, to me, it would seem logical to have like Playboy, Playgirl, whatever magazines, Hustler, whatever they are, uh, you know, in a behind the counter area. Somebody could request them if they want it, but it shouldn't be out there for some curious 12-year-old to go flipping through without parental supervision or whatever the case. So I don't know. Just my two thoughts.
Sure, no, expressly like overtly pornographic content, I think like is one area where like the stores have basically agreed that they're going to keep that stuff behind the counter if at all. Um,
Hmm.
but like you could easily see a world where that expanded to include other things,
Yeah, and exactly, and it's just
and that might not be good. It might not be good for you too, right? I mean, like if they end up, I mean, if Christianity, if someone makes a Christian game that promotes Christian values, and in this game they don't promote homosexuality, like they actively condemn it or criticize it, uh,
yeah, that could be hate speech.
right? And like that's not a world or even like let's say that like oh all of the retailers decide or most of the big retailers decide oh we're gonna like make sure that this game's behind the counter where consumers can't peruse it and see oh
Hmm.
maybe I want to pick this game up that I hadn't seen before.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's just the thing. I mean, big tech has a lot, has a lot to say. So I guess, well, here's an interesting factoid. with Twitter before it was X, and Jack Dorsey was still running it. Our Twitter, the Divine Games, was actually like kind of shadow banned because like when after Elon took over, I was getting messages from people like, "Hey, you're still around? I'm seeing your tweets. I haven't seen your tweets in like 2 years." So they've already said stuff like that about us or have hindered us in some way. So it's kind of crazy.
Do you have any thoughts on the removal of content from some foreign games when they are localized?
Um. Well, I mean, I mean that just it happens regardless. It's a right. I don't know. They got to abide by the laws. Um. I mean, I think if players really want, they can usually mod stuff back in. So I don't know. I think I look at it as just a fact of life right now.
So you don't you view it as an industry practice that is neutral in your view? Like
Or unavoidable, to be honest. Like, I mean, there's things that you have. I mean, like, let's say if if a company wants to sell a game in China, then they can't have like Winnie the Pooh in it, right?
oh well,
So
we're talking about like totalitarian police states. I mean, like the United States of America, I think like has uh, I should ideally have a different set of values in how we approach things than China.
well, I mean, but again, I mean, but there's also other countries too that'll be like. I mean, I think countries in the Middle East, I mean, they won't take some games that have like LGBTQ stuff in there, will they? I mean, they'll be like, get this garbage out of here.
Probably not. Though again, like I think that the United States of America should have higher standards than the Middle East.
Okay, yeah,
Or
I know. Just it's yeah, I get it.
if the game has to be censored in Saudi Arabia, or it has to be censored in Germany because of a specific law, though I think Germany's actually weakened their laws recently and reformed them to make them slightly less draconian, but
Hmm.
still there unfortunately. The if they have to do it to fit the laws of these foreign countries, I don't care. Those are those countries. Um,
Yeah.
but if you're going to translate it in the United States, I want to see a good faith translation and a good faith localization. I want to, which means that they should make an honest attempt to bring the artist's vision to the West as best they can.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't want them to wokeify games either. So yeah, if I wouldn't want a game that would have woke stuff inserted that wasn't intended by the original author.
Right, but that's what the localizers are doing in some cases.
Yeah, I don't like that.
But they're also like taking out other stuff too. They're taking out like large swaths of
Mhm.
content like Fire Emblem Fates, some of which
No,
you might
yeah.
you might not like as well for other reasons.
Yeah, and I haven't played that series, but yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think games should be experienced as the authors intended, and it's a shame if that's not carried through.
Some people have argued that GamerGate was mostly or entirely right wing. Do you think that was accurate?
I don't think so. Yeah, I didn't really pull the demographics of the people, but I thought it was a pretty a pretty wide variety of demographics at play there.
Do you want to talk about your political views or philosophy?
Well, I can imagine I'm pretty conservative.
Do you view being conservative and being Christian to be natural outgroups of, or do you consider being conservative to be like a natural outgrowth of being Christian?
It's usually where things are, but people will surprise you. I mean, there's some that have different viewpoints and like whatever. I mean, again, everybody will be answering to God at the end. So, there's yeah, it's all. I mean, you have churches with rainbow flags on the outside, so you have that. And you have Christians that are pro-abortion, and so there's a big gambit. but I guess it really. I mean, I think. Uh I guess it also depends on the denomination as well. I would say people that I think Southern Baptists would tend to lean more towards conservative views. Um, but I attend a non-denominational church, so it's a little varied there. So
Have your politics changed since Gamergate or due to Gamergate?
no, not really.
Are you okay with The next question is, are you okay with gaming sites criticizing games through a political or religious lens? Uh yeah, I think we got that one covered.
Yeah.
Or well, I guess I could ask because it could be the case, though I don't think it is. Let's see. Are you okay with sites criticizing games from a non-Christian lens, but using another ideological framework?
So right. That's fine. Yeah. I mean, I think there's I don't know. I think there was a site like Gamer, like Gaymer, whatever. If they want to review games from a homosexual lens, let them do it. That's freedom of speech. Go for it.
Some people say that Gamergate was the quote first battle of the culture war unquote. Do you have any thoughts on that framing?
Hmm. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I can see where people can come to that conclusion. Um, but I don't know. I'm not really a culture warmonger, so I can't really think of anything before then. But yeah, I can see how people come to that conclusion.
Yeah, there were. I mean, like it depends what you mean by the culture war. Because like to some extent, people are always going to have like diverse set of views in a society about like what exactly cultural and social things should be. So like to some extent, like life is just existing within a society that is engaged in like to some extent a quote unquote culture war because like people have different opinions. Um, if you want to like frame things that way, I guess you could, but there's a
Hmm.
perception some people have, I guess, that what the era we are living in now represents like a unique break from from I guess the time that came before it.
Hmm. All right. Yeah.
Or do you? I
That's
mean, do you see a break? Since you said you couldn't think of anything necessarily, you seem to kind of like be sympathetic with the framing.
Yeah, yeah. No, I can understand it. I can understand it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Um, yeah, I don't know. You got all the different things too. I remember, like the Me Too movement and stuff like that happening afterwards. And I don't know. There's always something. So I don't know.
What do you think
I try.
of? Oh, sorry.
No, 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 I try not to get too involved in these things. But
All right. What do you think of Gamergate or the reaction to it as being a moral panic?
mm, I don't know. I think the Dungeons and Dragons stuff would be a bigger moral panic, but I don't know. Um, I think it's just I just looked at a gamer's age as like an ethical wake up call. That's how I view it. But
What do you think of the framing of Gamergate as a battle between those who believe in Enlightenment liberal values and those who don't?
never really looked at it that way. Huh.
Did you interact with any pro Gamergate? Well, you've already talked about that, but do you want to talk about your any? Do you want to talk again about any of your interactions you had about with pro Gamergate people and what those experiences were like?
Like I said, I think I got I still have some following me on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. So um, some people still like uh what we do, and they like. I mean, I usually try to post a silly meme at night. A lot of people like those stuff like that. So they're still around. Sometimes I get some comments or good ones or like face palm or whatever. So um But yeah, nothing. I mean, nothing too deep. But yeah, sometimes if I try as a nonprofit though, I try not to go too political on my Twitter. So I got to kind of toe the line there. So I don't usually put anything to rile people up. So not a whole lot of discussion to be honest.
What about your interact? Oh, I guess the same thing with the anti-gamergaters.
Yeah, yeah, not really. I mean,
Do
people
do they follow you too?
maybe
You're probably on the black
maybe
list.
May I don't know. I mean, I mean, I was on, I was black, whatever shadow band or whatever you want to call it, but I don't know. I mean, I know some people block me on there, and it's like, okay, whatever. You can't please everyone, so it is what it is. So I don't know. I don't take it personal.
As an outside observer, how could the Gamergate conversation have been more productive?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I think the only way to make it better would be just you know to not have the stupid people that ruined it for everybody. That's all. I mean, but how do you stop that? So that's about I don't know. I think it's as good as it could be with all things considered.
All right. Do you have any thoughts on Not Your Shield?
Um, I I always just I always saw those that tagged together with GamerGate. So I mean I understand not you know gamers not being used for political fodder. Um, Yeah, I don't know. So I always kind of have, yeah, I always just saw those two together a lot.
Discussion of Gamergate was widely censored online. Why do you think that was?
Um, be, well, I didn't think that the sites that were being criticized were gonna give any exposure to that conversation. So yeah, not good press. I don't see them promoting not good press about themselves.
Why do you think some people claim that Gamergate was about harassment or hating women?
Um, well, because of the people involved, I guess. But, harassment, I mean, there was yeah, I don't know, there was like, talk about doxing and stuff like that. So that's not a good look.
Do you think it was the Gamergate people doing the doxing, or who do you think was doing it?
Well, extremists of one or the other. I mean, you got people have good intentions but carry it out in the wrong ways. It could be either party doing that. I mean, people non-gamergate doxing gamergate people and gamergate people doxing non-gamergate people. I could see it going both ways.
Have you read or do you have any thoughts on the various studies relating to Gamergate and harassment, like the Women Action Media study, Newsweek slash Brandwatch study, or the Nimbus study?
I haven't read those, no.
Did you see or do you have any thoughts on the Gamergate anti-harassment patrol?
Uh, sounds noble. I haven't done anything with it or read too much about it.
Sorry, most of the people I interview who are, you sort of fit into like an interesting camp because I know you've researched GG a little bit at the time for your article and talked about it like a tiny amount. So
Yeah.
I asked you if you were neutral on GG or pro, and I said you were neutral. So I gave you the neutral question list. Um,
Oh, okay.
but I guess you didn't follow like some of the events super close. It seems.
No, no, not really. I just kind of like, well, what are y'all talking about? Oh, okay, kind of a thing. But I didn't get too vested into it. So apologies.
No, no, you're fine. Well, we can go ahead and do I guess a speed round through these ones then. And
Okay.
like if you don't have anything to say for it, we can just skip it. Just let me know. Um, do you think most Gamergate people did a good job condemning harassment?
I think so, yeah, because I mean, promoting it is I mean, that's not something you want to do. I mean, it's just it's not a good look. So,
You don't have to answer or talk about it, but did you experience any harassment during GamerGate from either side or from third-party trolls?
I mean, there's always trolls. I'm not going to blame GamerGate on it. Because just having a Christian website puts enough of a bullseye on our back.
Have people tried to take down your site?
Um, we have had the site. We have had a couple of like defacements or hack. I've been I had like somebody wrote like a third party thing, and that that was a big mistake. I mean, nice, to have something unique, but hey, if there's a vulnerability of like no no recourse, no patches, you have to like you're okay. How do I get this fixed? Um,
Was someone white-hatted you, or they?
I don't know. I think I had like I had just a website just taken down, or like
Okay, not
whatever
white-hatted.
the homepage was altered or whatever the case. And so but yeah, so no, we've had a couple of things like that happen. Um, so yeah, no, we've had targets. So like I'm very adamant about keeping all the software current and stuff like that, so there's no vulnerabilities to exploit. And we have had bot attacks, just hammering the site. You know, I've done like, and I'm pretty tech savvy, and the servers run Linux, so I have like there's just been times where I trace all these bots, like hundreds of bots all at the same time trying to flood the site. And what do you know? They're mostly from China, so I just block all the China IP ranges, and the problem's gone. It's like, okay, problem solved.
Do you know who was responsible for this, or
No,
do you think it was related to the GamerGate stuff in any way?
I can't verify that. I don't know what the trigger was.
Many GamerGate supporters report being harassed. I'm not sure if you ever encountered anyone with a story like that, uh, but these did not get largely covered by the press. Why do you think that was?
Oh, so people supporting Gamergate getting
Yes.
harassed? Then, well,
Well,
yeah, that
yeah.
would be. Well, I think they would be actually kind of cheering that on, so I can understand them not wanting to cover that. Not saying it's right, but just saying, oh, I think they're just probably giving each other high fives in the back. But.
I'm going to use three terms that you may not have heard of. If you've heard of any of these and want to discuss them, please let me know. Zack attack.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was. I tried Googling that one, and I don't know. I got some like YouTuber that with like watches or something, so I have no idea what that is.
uh, if you well, it's actually wow. Even with the hashtag Zack attack, it's still oh, it's like this. It's like the seventh thing down or eighth thing down,
Oh, okay.
and that's just one. Yeah, it was this anti-GamerGate group that tried to dox people.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, one person in particular, Mombot.
Name Zach? Okay.
Well, Zachary Miller was this. It's Zachary Miller is this fake name
Oh, I
that
see. All
that
right.
Mombot
Like,
and Rudderhouse created to try and trick the anti-Gamergaters into seeing if they would try to dox somebody. Uh,
oh, I see. I see.
yeah, it was yeah, it was this whole thing, which we can go over it if you really want to learn about it. I mean, I'm open
Oh,
to talk
that's
about it,
cute.
but
Yeah, that's all right.
but yeah. GG Revolt.
I don't know. I don't know if I've seen that one, but I didn't get too involved, so I probably not too much. So Justice Warriors.
They were pretty small. GG Revolt
Oh,
was.
okay, yeah, probably not.
Sea Lioning.
No, Though I thought I saw like some sea lion art on the Kotaku in action. Maybe that's what had something to do with that.
Yeah, that's probably that. Almost that not probably that is related. Is this
Okay.
comic? Someone made a web comic in 2014, right after the GamerGate thing. I don't know if it was directly related to Gamergate, but some of the anti-Gamergate people seem to think it was. I don't think he ever expressly said this is Gamergate related, but it was a comic book that arguably, well, it's a Rorschach test, I guess, really, um, because people who look at it see different things. Some people see like
Uh,
this absolutely horrible, atrocious, monstrous behavior, and other people see um, like a pretty respectable, normal interaction.
Okay.
What do you? Oh, I, you're probably not gonna know about that. I'm not even gonna bother. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I don't even include that question for the neutrals. I was gonna ask if you knew about. You said you didn't know about the Zoe Quinn stuff very much at all. So
It's been such a long time, so it's like I know the name and I know the associations there, but it's just foggy about what the triggers were on it.
what do you think about how the media largely covered Gamergate?
Um, I think there was just a lot of focus on the negative aspects. You know, the doxing and the bomb threats, stuff like that, and not necessarily the good stuff that came out of it.
If you were going to investigate Gamergate and cover it for your site as a news story, how would you have done so?
Um,
Or not even just your site, but in general, if you wanted to
well,
investigate it.
yeah. I think I would treat it like one of our reviews. I would look up the origin, what caused it, and then what happened with it. Like how what evolved from it, and where it went, the good, bad, and the ugly, and what the end result was.
Did anyone in the media? Well, you put out a statement about Gamergate. You're obviously
Mhm,
you run a major, well, you run a gaming site um, that has like some attention and some popularity for sure,
mhm,
some eyeballs on it, and you've put out a public statement about Gamergate that is a bit different from some of the other sites. So, did
mhm.
anybody from the media reach out to you to discuss the movement?
Not really. I don't think so. I don't recall anything like that.
Well, you did do the interview with Aaron Pavone, but
Oh, okay.
with
I
Games Journalism
forgot.
Network.
Oh, okay. That was a long time ago. I forgot. I forgot.
I might have interviewed. Did we talk back in the Gamergate days? Did I ever have you on?
I don't know.
I
It's been
don't
such a
think
long
so.
time.
I think I would remember. I don't think so. But I
Okay,
know I
I
did.
felt bad.
I
I
actually
felt bad.
discovered you because I interviewed Aaron Pabone, and he mentioned that he interviewed you.
Okay, I feel bad. I forgot.
Well, that's okay because you should watch my
That was
interview with
a
him. I roast the fuck out. I roast the heck out of him. I really do. I really because you know about the airplay too. Well, you probably don't. Never mind. We don't have to go down that route. But I roast him over his airplay 2 situation. Let's just say that.
Oh dear. Okay, gotcha. Which I don't have any experience with. Sorry.
If oh, hang on. Are there any specific articles or videos you want to discuss?
mm, I don't know. No, I haven't. Yeah, I haven't like I haven't been on the. As I the only time I should go on like the Kotaku and Action and stuff like that is like when people mention us. So yeah, if people do link our site, I'll usually get notified about it, and I'll usually check in and see what people are saying, just because I'm morbid curiosity. But I don't have anything. Which is funny because usually people are on 4chan talking about us. They wonder how I find these threads, and it's like I am not on 4chan unless people are talking about me. So people might get the wrong idea, but
Yeah.
it's like no, I don't have time to be on 4chan or on much on Reddit or whatever the case. But yeah, if we get mentioned, I'll probably stumble upon it and check it out of curiosity. yeah, nothing, nothing comes to mind. But yeah, check out our reviews. That's all. Check out our YouTube or Twitter and all that fun stuff.
So you don't lurk on B?
No, I don't have time to. But if I mention if someone mentions us, I'll do. Check it out.
I don't think B probably would never would have talked about it. Well, actually, they might have just randomly,
No,
but
I thought you said. I thought you said
V,
oh V. Oh,
yeah,
V
V
is in
V is
Victor.
very different. Yeah,
No,
B
okay, no, not okay.
B is random. B is like anything goes
Oh,
craziness. I've
oh,
never
okay,
been
yeah, no,
there
no, no, no.
except for
Okay.
in passing, perhaps. Um,
No, and I think it's funny, like on 4chan, like they call Christians Christ bags. So
yeah, yeah. What do you think of like jokes like that?
I think it's funny. I don't care.
Cool, based.
Yeah, they always like associate like they. Oh, oh, you know what? There's a funny comic where somebody takes a quote from our Doom review, and it's like it's a nun doing a game review of Doom, and they take our quote, so they picture me as a nun. It's like, okay, I got 3 kids and I'm married, but okay, if you want to consider me a nun, I don't care.
Do So you obviously have like a slight I don't think I'd call you edgy by like any stretch of the imagination, but like you're
Mhm.
okay with the edginess and
Oh
respond
yeah, I don't
to it
care.
well.
Yeah, I got thick skin. I don't, and I do have a sadistic streak of humor, so yeah, I get it. It's all
But
good.
do people often not think that to be the case because of your very open religious view?
I don't know. They have to know me. That if you get to know me and stuff, yeah, I'm pretty silly. So, um, yeah, I'm pretty laid back, and I don't know. Maybe people just assume that I get offended, easily because I'm a Christian, or maybe I have thin skin. I don't know, but
Well,
I'm pretty chill.
I obviously didn't think of you like that, but going in because well, one, I didn't really know you, and two, obviously you. We saw how you reacted to the GamerGate stuff. So like, obviously, I don't think you're like some hyper thin-skinned person. But
Yeah, I was
speaking,
more curious. It's like, what is this? What is this going on? What is all this stuff? Why are we getting mentioned? I was just trying to figure out like what how do
yeah,
we get involved in this?
in many ways, I think GamerGate might be the real Rorschach test.
Yeah.
Um, but I actually did talk about your website. I interviewed, well, maybe I did a video, and then I also interviewed uh, MRJN Williamson. They've deleted their Twitter account since or changed their name. Uh,
Oh,
someone from Calgary, someone at Calgary Expo, your booth got banned.
oof. Yeah, man.
It was in
Oh,
2016, May 2016.
hmm.
I interviewed. Well, it wasn't. I don't know if you personally were there, but um,
Oh,
actually, the
maybe
video
someone was rep.
survived.
Oh, okay. Let's say like I don't know if I mean we've done a couple of shows, so maybe it was somebody trying to represent us that got banned. It's like I think I've never been kicked out of anything. So I'd
But no,
have
it.
to.
What I covered this story. I did a whole
Yeah, no,
video
I
of
know,
a.
I know, I
Hang
know.
on, let me
Hey,
try and find
hey,
it because
hey.
like, am I losing my mind here?
Uh, band from Calgary Reddit. What is this? Um, what is this? Okay, so there's a YouTube. Just to clarify. Okay. Oh, someone. Okay, it was somebody ban. Okay, I found a Reddit thread. So somebody was handing out our cards at this event. It wasn't me. Um, so somebody was handing out our cards there, and they got banned.
Okay, here's an archive has survived.
Yeah, because there's a Kotaku in action about it.
It's probably linking my video.
I probably.
Christ-centered gamer is reporting that
You're gonna love the thumbnail.
Let's see. I see the. Oh Lord, please make Adam. Wait. A non less of a faggot or something. I see a. Um.
Yeah. But I also interviewed the guy who got banned at the time, though that did not survive, sadly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this was like a news story. I was covering it.
Yeah. No, as I say, I'm. There's a Reddit thread on Kotaku in action with the YouTube,
I only
and
did like
I
a minute
comment.
long video though. So like the
Oh,
well,
okay.
my
And
one video was
yeah.
only a minute long. The interview itself, I think we went for a couple hours talking about it. But
Okay. Yeah, 'cause I put on there. Like, yeah, I think somebody. It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't personally me. It was banned. Somebody was just trying to hand out our stuff,
yeah.
and they
Well, I
got in
think I
trouble.
yeah I don't know all this exact details, but like okay, so this was like so long ago. This was literally 2016, so I don't remember everything that happened. I
Yeah. Oh,
barely
yeah.
remember. I don't even remember anything from the conversation other than, in fact, I didn't even know about this until I remembered, like when I was interviewing the Honey Badgers themselves. I'm like, oh yeah, weren't Christ Center Gamer also banned? But yeah, somebody
Oh,
got banned for passing out. Well,
yeah.
I think it was like a blanket ban on like all religious groups or whatever altogether
Huh.
or something, and so I don't remember the exact details. Because in the tweet I made about it, I said bans Christ Center Gamer and other religious groups.
Okay.
I think it was like a blanket ban on all religions, which they used to kick him out.
Hmm.
Which I'm actually opposed to. I think if a religious group pays the money for the booth or whatever, they should be able to do it too. I think a truly secular society is one that welcomes a plurality of viewpoints, including ones that I don't agree with.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if the guy even had a booth. I think he was just handing out our stuff. Yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
yeah, I
I
don't
don't know
actually.
the details.
Again, I don't know the. Somehow I thought if I brought it up, I thought you'd know about it because
Yeah, well, like I wasn't personally there, so I can't. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, we've had some booths before. I think one of the funnier ones was like we've been next to some funny booths. Like one of them, one year we had a booth next to us that had like these Buddha statues, but with like pop icons. So like imagine like a Yoda Buddha or something like that. So it's kind of funny just as a Christian, Christ-centered gamer next to Buddhist, pop statues was kind of funny. Or the other one was we were next to like another booth that was like what was like it was like an anime. It was like Yuri on Ice or something. There was a bunch of artwork for that or so. It was just like really, some unusual booth mates. But we were nice to everybody, and there was no animosity there. But it was all good. It was just there was just no rivalry or whatever. It was fine. Everyone was amicable. Everyone was good.
did the
So it's just kind of funny.
media's did the media's coverage of Gamergate increase or decrease your trust in the media?
I mean, I think the whole Gamergate thing in general decreased the trust.
If a journalist who got Gamergate wrong in your view is reading this now, what do you want them to reconsider?
Just look at both sides of the coin. There's always two sides to every story.
What do you think the media can learn from how they covered Gamergate? I guess that's
Mm,
sort of
well,
you kind of just
yeah,
answered
just
that, but
yeah, yeah, cover both. Look at both sides, and then write your opinion piece.
have you seen the Wikipedia article about Gamergate?
No, Wikipedia always changes. So if
Well,
you look
this
at it
one
today,
doesn't ever change. This one
oh
is
really?
locked. This one's locked down super duper
Oh,
duper
is it?
duper hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Unfortunately, it's
Bye.
locked down with a. The Gamergate people uniformly believe it to be wrong. I think
Oh
even some
well.
of the anti-Gamergate people would admit that aspects of of the Wikipedia page are like outright fabrications.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, it's
I don't
mostly written by one
consider.
person.
Oh, I see.
Well,
All right.
sorry, not mostly. 20% of it. 20% of it, and that was at the time. It's probably changed since, especially since that person got banned eventually. And then he went to
Ah.
another website where he made almost 10,000 edits to another article and spent years of his life dedicated to that. Um,
Oh.
maybe he should find Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. There's a long list.
Would you like to see, quote, the narrative, unquote, on Gamergate change to be more neutral and or positive?
Wait, I think you cut off there. What about
Oh,
neutral and
would
positive?
you? Oh, hang on. Is my internet fucking up? Oh, messing up. Sorry. And what do you?
I mean, I appreciate neutrality, so I'm always for that.
What's your favorite video game?
What's my favorite video game? Well, I don't know. I like to look at it by system. Just like to go through decades of playing games. I can sort by. Oh, you're breaking up again. You're
Yeah,
gargling.
I wasn't even talking. I think it's just recon. I'm having some internet issues, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
now my speed went down to like 20 megabytes a second download speed, and then it shot back up, and then it like went down again, and then so
Prequel to those. So yeah, so there's a lot of so those are fun, but then like, if you go to like GameCube, I like the Paper Mario games, or even N64, the Paper Mario, stuff like that. Um yeah, all kinds of stuff. And then like on PC then, man, there's just so much. And there's like just games like, I mean, I played all the like a
oh well, I guess it's all fine. But maybe it's not so fine. But either way, it's recording
Oh,
fine. So the
oh,
audience,
okay, weird.
well, I'll have a good copy of it. I don't know about the video stream, but
Okay, gotcha. Huh.
yeah.
It's all
Anyway,
right.
sorry, you were saying Nintendo 64 and GameCube. You said right? Were your last ones?
Yeah.
Paper Mario.
Yeah, yeah, and then like yeah, the PC. There's someone I like the Oblivion and the Morrowind and stuff like that, and the Fallout games are good. So a lot of stuff. I like, and then there's also then you got like, if we have LAN parties, and like first person shooters, stuff like that. I grew up playing a lot of like, Quake, Diablo games, stuff like that.
That's kind of ironic, actually.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know. I was playing. Yeah, I did play that a lot, growing up.
Well, so would you would you play Diablo or Quake today?
Um, I think if I'm not mistaken, I played a lot of Quake 2, and I think not all of the Quakes had like the pentagrams and stuff in it. I think that was I
That's
think I
just
don't
the
think
first one, really, right?
I think
Because
so.
because they have different. Well, the one is a separate universe than two. Well, they arguably some people online, you know how they are fans. They'll argue like, oh no, if you look, there's this Easter egg that connects the two universes, but there's one's a separate universe from two, and two is I think the same universe as four and enemy territory.
Mhm. Oh yeah, I played the Wolfenstein games. Those were fun too.
Oh, I think
Which
what was the
I remember I got in trouble, like, not well, I guess I got in trouble. I think I did well, I got called out on one of my reviews because like I played Wolfenstein and I mentioned that I guess I expressed too much enthusiasm with the flamethrower. I wasn't supposed to do that as a Christian. So it's like, okay.
so
I thought burning Nazis was fun.
in your
And
view, um, does any game that features like a demonic thing, even if the demons are presented as the bad guys like Doom or Diablo, is that is that viewed as wrong in your view, or
mm,
not something you like rather? Because you don't really like frame it in like the wrong way. You'd say like I personally wouldn't like this.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's to me, I think I think it really depends. I mean, I think I can tell if I'm playing a game. I can tell I'm in hell if there's fire and brimstone or whatever. I don't really need the pentagrams and upside down crosses to illustrate that I'm in hell. Like just like the same way if I'm in heaven, you like what do you got? You have pearly gates, whatever. You have clouds and stuff like that. Do you need crosses everywhere to indicate you're in heaven? Probably not. You just kind of get an idea. You could do things without certain symbolism, but um, I don't know. I'm playing this game called Vampire Hunters, and it was sent to us to review, and it's really it is so over the top. It's hilarious, and I have no problem. Like, so imagine a game like Quake or Doom, but you get to have 14 weapons simultaneously, and you just mow down, vampires, demons, werewolves, what have you. So I think it's fun. I don't have any moral issues playing. Excuse me. I don't have a guilty conscience playing that one. I just think it's fun.
What is it about let's use an example, the pentagram, that
hmm
specifically pushes it into you could do it without that? Is it
or just like the upside down cross. I think it's just kind of like a slap in the face kind of a thing. It's just um, yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's just an occult symbol. I mean, the same thing. It's just I know it's something that's used for occult, rituals and stuff. It just makes me feel uncomfortable. So that's all.
okay?
Not saying, again, everybody, other people have different views, and it doesn't bother them, and more power to them. So it's cool.
And you obviously talked about how you met a huge number of people from this GamerGate thing, and it put your site on the map to some extent.
Yeah.
Um, do you want to talk about any of the friendships that you made from either the GamerGate movement or from the other side or from just the general interactions with people because of this phenomena in our society?
I mean, I know. I mean, obviously, 4chan's anonymous, and when I make my presence known there, I'll put my name out there, so I'm not posting as anonymous. But then I'll put a tweet out, let people, hey 4chan, nice talking to you, kind of a thing, so they actually know, oh yeah, that really is her, kind of a thing. And I know I'm quite sure there's somebody on the 4chan moderator team that's a fan of our work because they'll keep people in line. The people don't get too nasty. So so it's kind of cool. Just sometimes there's some people that'll have our back. But with that said, I mean there's still people on 4chan that don't like us, and that's fine. And I don't expect that. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, we have Patreon and stuff like that. I can't. I don't know how many people on our Patreon, if there's any from the GamerGate thing or whatever the case, or how many Discord members are on there, or how many exactly of my Twitter followers. I don't know. I mean, I know everything's gotten propped up, but to what extent over all these years, I don't know. I mean, again, people have dropped off for economic reasons and stuff, and I get that too. So I don't know, but I appreciate it. I appreciate the love and support we've gotten over the years. So it is cool, and the respect that we've earned, and also realize that the respect is easy. No, I guess is as many years as it takes to earn that. It's one post away, or one misjudgment away from being lost. So it's got to just stay true, and and not let these people down.
When you say 4chan, do you also go to 8chan?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think I see more from 4chan than 8chan, but I've been to both.
Yeah, I interviewed actually the board owner from V. I'm not sure if he posted about your stuff ever or if he's seen a lot of posts there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mostly, I guess, I don't know. The service I just mentioned, I don't know. I get, yeah, I do see
Well,
4chan.
he's
I don't know.
Jewish though, so he probably doesn't read a whole lot. Unless well, again, unless he likes the review portions for the gameplay stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. We got the first 5 books of the Bible in common.
Do you have any thoughts on Vivian James or other GamerGate related art projects?
um, I mean, I know. All I know is that she's got orange hair and wears green and purple. That's about all I know.
What was your favorite moment during GamerGate?
I I don't know. Probably just like the Twitter surge. Like, what's going on? Why is my Twitter blowing up? What did I do?
Yeah,
That's always kind of funny. It's just like, what?
yeah.
People are
Sorry.
talking about us. Why?
Yeah, sorry. Most of the question list is like designed around people who like were by neutral I mean people who talked about it a lot but like
Oh
took a neutral
yeah,
standpoint
nah.
because there were a lot of people like that, especially like on Reddit and Twitter and stuff, who would like talk about Gamergate all the time and have like strong opinions about it, but they would consider themselves to be neutral.
Oh really? Oh okay. Yeah. No,
Well,
I
strong
haven't. Like I was like, okay, they're talking about me. Cool. All right,
or not
carry
strong
on.
opinions. They wouldn't have strong opinions about it, but they'd have like strong opinions maybe about certain specific issues, but they'd consider themselves neutral and like also recognize like a large number of they have like some agreements with both sides basically.
Ah,
Um,
okay.
if you could have changed one thing about Gamergate, what would it be?
Um, like the negative people with the bomb threats and the doxing. Just take them out of the picture. That'd be awesome.
What would you personally have done differently during Gamergate?
Um, I guess what I would have done more. I guess is I like changed my Twitter philosophy since then. I probably would have followed people back more readily, but I didn't do that right away. So I probably got people mad, like, "Why am I following her? She's not following me back." That's about the only thing I would do different. But now I usually follow people back unless they have like offensive Twitter accounts or something like that. Then I won't follow them back. No, I don't want to see nudes, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I don't follow people back. I sometimes do, but I'm at the point though where at a certain point I'm like, no, I want to curate my feed to some extent.
I never even I rarely look at. I mean, that's the funny thing is like, yeah, I do have like Facebook and stuff, but I usually put stuff to promote when we have content, and I usually don't respond unless somebody responds to me. I don't. There's no way. I have so many people I follow back on Twitter, like it would change like 10 times a second. I just no, I cannot read things that fast. I don't have time to do that. So it's just like if I get mentioned, I'll look into it, but otherwise, I'm off Twitter.
Yeah, I was. I mean, that was. I mean, I did a purge, but now because it was like every 2 seconds, it's like, oh, there's like 47 new tweets. So I'm
Nah,
like,
I can't
nah,
do it. No
I'm
way.
good. So then I did a purge, and now I'm building it back up. I might have to do a second purge at some point.
Yeah,
Maybe
for
not. Maybe
sure.
not. Maybe not. Because I now feel bad because people are like, you would follow me, but I probably won't unfollow any of the old GamerGate people that I know. Um, if I did a purge, it'd be like,
Yeah.
yeah. Which I don't know if I will or not. Let's move on. What have you personally learned? Or sorry, what would you have done? I've already asked you this. Yes. Let's say it's 10 years from now, and an online movement is looking to GamerGate for guidance for their movement. What advice do you have for them?
Oh boy, I don't know. Just keep it civil. Just keep it civil and stick with the facts.
Do you see parallels between GamerGate and the way society currently discusses issues?
Well, I mean, as far as like the original thing of all these similarly related news stories all like, being posted within days or hours of each other. I mean, I just see that as like media today. There's all these talking points. Like I don't know if you ever seen those compilation videos where like all these different news anchors across, I'm assuming across the United States, are all reading the same darn script. I mean verbatim. And it's just like, okay,
Oh, the
yeah, how much
Sinclair broadcast thing,
or I don't
the
know, just or just
controversy.
in general. Yeah, or just whatever, but they're just you get like all these news anchors, they're all like from all over the place. They're all reading the same darn thing, and it's just like, and it's usually political kind of a thing. But it's like, okay, what? Why is everybody reading the same script?
Well, the
Why?
CBC actually, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, CBC, actually had very similar controversy involving them and doing basically that, where they had 3 interviews about GamerGate with Kim Lanigan, this tech tech culture reporter, and it was Stephen Quinn and 2 other people whose names immediately escape me, um, who all three of these interviewers interviewed the same person and had almost the exact word for word conversation. It wasn't
Oh my.
syndicated though. It was 3 different people, but almost
Huh.
every single word was exactly the same. In fact, there was a statistical analysis done of the content of the interviews, and it found
Wow.
that it was. I can give you all the research on this too. Someone's done a huge amount of research on this, Lunar Archivist, and it's 89% identical. The interviews
Oh
are.
wow.
It was yeah.
Huh.
Or well, sorry, the introduction was 89%. The full interview it's identical. The introduction was 89%. The rest of it was altogether 76, I think, percent it was, or 79.
That-
But
Wow.
still like a really high amount. And it's
Huh.
really interesting that how did that happen?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. What do you think of the decentralized and leaderless nature of Gamergate? Oh wait, hang on. I'm sorry. I haven't gone through the neutral questions, so I'm sorry. I have kind of neglected the neutral questions because I haven't updated the
Oh.
pro and anti ones. But I didn't think I'd be interviewing any more neutral people really. So I didn't like they're kind of out of date a little bit. But I did try to go through about a week and a half ago in preparation of this and try and clean it up a bit because it was kind of way out of date. But now it's only slightly out of date. What have you personally learned from Gamergate?
um, just I guess just how I, I I guess how I don't know about corrupt, or I guess how bad the gaming journalism landscape was then, then, and probably still is a bit today. The different, all those different outlets working hand in hand. You assume that they were different entities, but I guess not. Kind of a thing. So.
What do you think of the decentralized and leaderless nature of Gamergate?
No, I think that's good. I think it's a good thing. I mean, if you people with common goals, but it's a little harder to rein everybody in though too without a leader, but for the most part it worked.
Some of the Gamergate people have talked about doing a big meetup once every 10 years or so. Get everybody together, maybe some of the antis who are good faith, and some of the neutrals too, and have a big party, a reunion, something like that. Would that be something you'd be interested in?
Um that that would be interesting. I would hopefully it would be a peaceful event without any bomb threats. Um
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully, I imagine like that person who did that was probably like 14 years old, and now imagine them like being like 35 or something, and being like, "Oh boy, I can't wait to call it a bomb threat to this GamerGate event." It's like, what?
yeah.
You're an adult now. Like, what are you doing? You know?
Oh man. I think the fun it's really 14-year-olds or whatever. I think it's hilarious. There's this video. It's been taken down, but I wish I archived it. It was so funny. It was like a 9-year-old on YouTube or something bashing us because of like he got mad about our Halo review or the things we criticized about Halo or something like that. And like you can tell this kid like he was like, kind of like covering under his bed sheets and like you know, I can't believe they said this about my favorite freaking game, and then they were saying like every like so close to a swear word, but they couldn't, and they had to speak so quiet so they wouldn't get in trouble by their mom. It was just the funniest darn thing, and like I probably put more views on this kid's video because I was sharing it around laughing at it than this kid intended. But yeah, it was just funny. So sorry, it just reminds me of that.
So, what was your opinion on Halo that was so bad that this kid had to call you out?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, the game is fun. It's a classic. My kids love playing it.
Oh, it's Halo 1? Or which one
Probably,
was
I
it?
don't know. It was just as something like that. But I mean, just the fact that you're shooting aliens and they had whatever color blood coming out, was it blue, green? I don't remember,
It
but
depends on the species, because like the litho the oh my god, how could I not remember this? The hunters. Well, what's their real species name?
I don't even remember. That was
I'm
like
a fake Halo fan.
it was a group. It was like the group was called Covenant or something, wasn't it? I don't
Yeah,
know,
the
something like
Covenant. So the M Gallic that's why I don't remember the name. The M Gallic Go Go. They have like uh orange blood, but like
that.
grunts and the elites have blue. You're right. So like it depends on the species of the
Yeah,
Covenant, but
but yeah, so whatever. I just thought it was a hilarious video. Again, it's long gone. It's a long purge, but I wish I had that one backed up.
do you have any?
Because it was,
Have you played the new Halo? The well, new quote unquote, like Infinite.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't, yeah, I don't think so. It's kind of funny. I don't know, we were late adopter. We've never owned an original Xbox, and I think I picked up like an Xbox 360 at a pawn shop or something. And then the Xbox One or something. I remember. I think I got that. I got that like a Black Friday special. And it was funny because like my I picked that up and like my daughter was bragging on a school bus that like I picked up an Xbox and then she got laughed off the bus. Xbox sucks. It was funny. But yeah, we just have we have all the platforms. We have the Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch. Because sometimes like there's a code. If we request a code, sometimes the only version we can get is the Xbox, and those are the last to go, I guess. But yeah, we got it. We can do it.
Have
Funny.
you? I know how important and how big of a role this played. This controversy played in your life. So I have to ask: have you ever
Yeah. What's
thought about writing a book or other project relating to Gamergate?
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know if I've ever. Well, actually, I did. I did write one book, but it was about my dog being fat. But it's a kid's book. But no, nothing about GamersGate. I haven't pictured myself writing anything serious.
I think I'm gonna reword this because I don't think I should ask the neutral people what Gamergate being successful would look like to them. Um,
Yeah.
but well, I guess no, it kind of is important context though. From you being an outsider, what do you think Gamergate being successful would look like?
Just have honest journalism,
Well, if that's your bar,
like
then
across the board, I guess. Yeah.
so outside of gaming too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So Gamergate's win condition would be that, or would it be less ambitious, or would it be more ambitious?
Well, I guess I guess honest gaming journalism would be cool. Yeah, if it spread into regular journalism, that'd be awesome, amazing, miracle.
Was Gamergate successful in your eyes?
I think it opened people's eyes, so I think that's good. Yeah, I mean I think it kind of well, I guess what would you consider like in regular media? You would consider it red pilled, right? If you kind of like you know saw if you see behind the curtain a little bit and realize, hey, media's been lying to me, and it could be the same thing for gamers. With GamerGate can do that for the gaming people.
If you could do it all over again, would you?
Sure, it didn't change too much.
You would you would write an article, maybe tweet about it a few times, do one interview with Aaron Pabone, and then have some
But
guy
then
who you don't
forget
know
about it.
get kicked out of a conference for
Yeah, sure.
you of course, let's do it again.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Am I downplaying your role in the Gamergate thing?
I don't know. I mean,
Are you
it's
downplaying it? I don't.
I don't know. I mean, I appreciate it putting us on the map, so I'm thankful for that. And it's not like I had to. I think I just had to tweak one of my articles, so that's fine. Had no problem doing that. But otherwise, we just keep on keeping on. Same, just doing the same thing. And I mean, I know. I mean, just in general. I mean, as a Christian, people are watching. So I have to be careful what I say and what I do. And something I do on my Twitter feed is I have it showing up on the main on Christ Center Gamer, so that kind of keeps me accountable. So I can't. I mean, my goodness, I have like this folder on my desktop, and it's got like all these memes that I collect, and that eventually make their way to my Twitter. And there's some in there like, yeah, nah, I can't post that. That'll show up on the main website. That would not be a good look. But so even the same thing with GamerGate or whatever. People watch. If I don't know, if I got in some sort of scandal, make that would make its rounds on Twitter, Reddit, whatever. So it's just I just gotta stay true, stay honest. So
What
not
what's
much
the
is gonna change.
what's the fatal error that, not to call out any specific individual journalist or anything like that. I do that all the time actually, but like not for this point because I'm not going to ask you to do that, unless you want to. What is the fatal error that they made that you didn't make?
um,
They being like the other games journalists who
yeah,
who
I
were
mean, not
less
just, I
responsive.
guess not, yeah, I guess just not disclosing, financial incentives that they've gotten, or just things that can alter their judgment on the reviews they've written, or just not, you know, um, not distancing themselves from corrupt staff, things like that. Um,
Oh, I didn't think you'd answer it that way. Because when I was asking you, I thought I didn't make it clear, but I actually meant
oh, I'm
more
sorry.
into. No, no, I think it's an interesting answer too. I mean, um, but I meant more in terms of you got criticized, and then you just made the changes, and we're like, oh, okay, thanks for letting me know about that.
Yeah.
Whereas like they obviously took a different, well, some of them I guess did issue corrections, but others took a more uh, oppositional approach with
Oh,
it,
yeah.
and they,
No.
yeah, it's just like the approach you took versus the approach they took. It seemed quite different.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way you look at things in life. I mean, um, for example, my son, like, they have this honor band in our county, and the students at the high school will audition, and they pick the best of the best. And my son, he missed it by like 1 point, kind of a thing. And it's like, okay, well, what did you learn? He was like, well, I can improve on this, I can improve on that, this, for next year. It's like, great, that's perfect. That's the way you should do it, instead of being like, oh, screw this, I'm never doing that. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're. It's like you can you improve upon something and learn from I guess mishaps or failures, or are you gonna just blame and spout off nonsense? It's like I guess how you approach things.
What do you think of this interview project?
Well, I have to hear. I'll be honest. I have to listen to the other interviews, see how interesting they are, and see how I compare. But
There's
I
some
think
there's
it's.
some good
I
ones, I
think
think.
it's. I think it's noble. It's cool. So no, it sounds like an interesting read or listen, however you want
Well,
to do it, whatever format it
interesting read. All 3,000 pages of the book. This project is ballooned well beyond my initial plans.
is.
Let's just say that. But I am still going to do it, so I'm still working
That's
on it.
awesome. That's good. Don't give
Some,
up.
thank you. Some people, I made a decision recently. I guess last night. Um, because I realized I was being pulled in so many different directions. Because I place a huge priority on doing the book.
Uh huh.
Um, but I've also like, real life. I work a real life job.
Hmm.
I also have like real life stuff that I do. Um, and I also wanted to do videos, like make videos too, not just about the clips interviews, the clips from the interviews, which I do as I transcribe them. So it's like a motivation also to try and to transcribe them that way because I'm also making a video out of it that get way more views than the streams do, uh,
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
usually at least. Um, but I was because I just did last week. I spent like 2 days working on this story that I broke about online communities on Reddit that were, well, online individuals, I should say, on Reddit who were part of this plot to take down other communities, um,
Ah.
because they didn't have the right politics.
Ah. Okay.
And I was actually the first person to really investigate the story well. And I actually have a list of stuff, um, where it's like, oh, look at all these interesting stories I could investigate. And look at all, and I have a whole separate one too. I have a list of like 15 conversations that people want to have with me at some point. Um,
Oh,
just
wow.
not related to the book, just unrelated to that completely. And
Hmm.
I've also got one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 different news stories that I want to cover, and that I'm considering covering. A couple of them are almost uncovered by anybody. One of them
Oh, wow.
I have like, yeah, one of them I'd be like the first person breaking the story on whatsoever, but it's not an urgent one. I could slow walk that. And then I also am doing a ton of research relating to the January 6th incident. We might disagree on some of that, but for a conversation I have coming up in like a week. And then I'm like, oh,
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm also writing like a 3,000 page book. Oh wait, I need to actually prioritize the things that I actually think are important. So I think I'm going to
Yeah.
prioritize the book, though I'm still doing the conversation. They can't find a conservative. Lieutenant Sarge can't, last I heard. He's trying to find a conservative because the whole plan was to have me and a conservative with him as moderator. Not even like a debate, but a conversation. Um,
Oh.
but I think he's having a hard time,
No.
unless you want to do it.
I had to brush up on my politics.
All right. Some people reading this book might hold a positive view of GamerGate. Is there anything you want to say to the people who have a positive view of GamerGate?
Well, they're entitled to it, either positive or negative. That's their thing. I mean, I think there are some positive aspects of it, and there's also some negative ones too. But I think overall, if the 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 weights, tip a little bit towards positive more than negative. So
Anything you want to say to the people who hold a negative view of GamerGate?
don't forget to look at the positive aspects too.
Cool. Anything else you want to talk about?
Mm, no, I think I'm starting to lose my voice.
Hey, this is relatively short, 3 hours, 25 minutes. I've gone over 7 before.
Oh
Uh,
my word.
that was only like a one-time thing, I think. All right, maybe twice, but it was after that, sometime after that, I realized I can't do these 7. This is supposed to be in a book. I can't have I can't have it be like this.
You
So
like
I'm
have to do
trying.
like volumes or something. It's like 3,000 words. That's like I don't know how many words is like or
I don't know if
how
it's
many words.
3,000 words for sure. I don't know how long it's gonna be, but it's gonna be real. It's gonna be like an encyclopedia of interviews. That's the plan, right? Like
Wow,
yeah. But I need to. Do you know anything about the real world publishing industry for books?
it's
Because
hard. It's hard. I mean, I know there's always vanity publishing, but you're paying a lot of money to do that. But yeah, finding a publisher that'll take a risk on you, that's hard.
well, because you publish a children's book.
Yeah, that one was kind of like a trade. Like I did website work and they had a publishing company. It's like, hey, cool. Can you waive the fee and publish my book and I'll revamp your website for you. And they're like, okay, we can do that. So we kind of did like a trade. So that's kind of how that worked out.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on, and I guess you have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching, everybody. All few people who are watching right now, but yeah, it was a good conversation. It was interesting.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me for the interview.
Yeah, and if you wanna brush up on your politics and do that stream with Lieutenant Sarge, I can get you in touch with him sometime. But otherwise, he'll keep searching, I think.
All right, good luck. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are happy to top
Oh yeah,
politics.
there are. I don't know how. I don't know if he's maybe changed the scope of it too, since like I think the two people he wanted originally, um, couldn't do it. So
Ah, okay.
now he's like trying to find someone like last minute.
Oh yeah, yeah. Fun, fun, fun. Well, you can like go to like r/politics. You probably find a bunch of people
Yeah.
willing.
There's also like tons of people in the Discord too. So part of me thinks he just wants to interview me now. I don't know, but he sent me a bunch
Uh
of DMs that I haven't read yet. So
oh. Okay. There you
yeah.
go.
All right. Well, thanks again. Have
Oh.
a good night, everyone. And oh, do you mind if I make smaller segmented videos out of this? Obviously, I won't take you out of context.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, as long as it's like